Yes, hello. I am Jamie Froden. Today it's the WNR598. It's WWE WrestleMania 42, and it is a live pre-show. Incredibly, this is our 11th WrestleMania on the podcast. I'm not laying over pleasure to be joined by our entire WNR team up first by my side for every WWE in AEW show. It is the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. How's it going, Jaxie?
Hello, happy WrestleMania weekend, everyone. Everything's good. This is an exciting one. I'm very excited to kind of be returning during WrestleMania season, so I can join you guys on this.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to have you by my side. Like I said, to take on yet another WrestleMania. Up next are Resident X, the expert, and New Japan demigod, and of course, toxic AEW Stanhausen. It is Monty. How's it going, man?
Going all right. Doing good. Excited to be talking about WrestleMania. Even though it don't feel like WrestleMania. It feels like WrestleMania, but it don't feel like WrestleMania. We could probably talk about why. But yeah, so uh yeah, it's here. So a big show, 2 nights. So I'm happy to break it down and let's catch up because man, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, without a doubt we have. But last but by no means least, well, we do have a very special guest to introduce our last host here. So, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome? I can't believe I've got him. You know, it's unbelievable. It is Elvis Presley. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Elvis Presley. Oh, very much, very much. It's a pleasure to be here, you know. No, no, thank you very much, Elvis. And you're going to do a special performance for us right now. Uh-huh. Oh, it's about a very special lady. One, two, one, two, three, four. When the world can understand me, when everything I do is wrong, you give me hope and constellation. You give me strength to carry on, and you're always there to lend a hand in everything I do. That's the wonder, a wonder of you. Oh, James, can you help me out a little bit? And when you smile, the world is brighter. Oh, you touch my hand and I'm king. Oh, your kiss to me is worth a fortune. Oh, your love for me is everything. I guess I'll never know the reason why you love me as you do. That's a wonder. The wonder of you. Oh, very much, very much. Oh, thank you, Elvis. Elvis, thank you very much. But that, of course, was for Gina. Gina, welcome to the show. Elvis sang you on.
Ooh, that was amazing. I cannot believe that I summoned someone from the dead just to sing for me. That was amazing. Thank you so much, Elvis. I appreciate your
Oh,
time.
I guess it's because it's Las Vegas WrestleMania night. But no, I do
Why
appreciate.
not kick off the WrestleMania pod with that? That's
I
amazing.
know. And of course, the wonder of you. You are the wonder of the podcast. And then yet another WrestleMania. I guess you are excited.
I am super excited. I have my crown atop my head, ready to bring some good luck going into this new prediction cycle.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, when we last left it, Cody had won the WWE title on SmackDown over on Raw. Punk told Roman he will bury him next to his father. So we've got six Raw, six SmackDowns, plus predictions for WrestleMania. Let's get to it then. Raw March 9th. And sometimes wrestling is as ridiculous as it was in the 80s and 90s. The goofy parade of masked men and worse, them dancing around in the ring. I don't know if it's Rollins' new gimmick. And what is it with the Shield not apologizing for their actions? We've got Mox, Roman, and Seth, all faces now, but haven't said shit about it. I mean, Jaxie, did the Shield kind of get let off for their actions because they were the Shield, you know?
They just made their own rules, you know? It's like whatever they say goes, and they really don't care if the crowd are behind them or not. And there are times where the crowd are behind them and they don't even seem to care about that, you know? Because it just in their eyes, this what they say goes.
Yeah. Do you think that, Rollins don't really need an explanation? You just come back and get cheered then? I suppose it's the same as Roman, isn't it? You know, they're just over as
I
Rover.
mean, like, can you like the way that it got set up with Braun sort of like writing him off, like he kind of immediately became the face, and regardless of doing anything himself, so I think it's just more around who is more hated between them and who they're feuding with.
Yeah, without a doubt. We Anyway, Not Vision wants Seth. LA Knight wants the Not Vision. The Usos arrived, and it was a waste of time. We had Intercontinental number one contenders gauntlet match with Io Sky pinning Lyra. It was a great way to start. Sky then pinned Rodriguez. Live Again didn't help. Ivy and Nile pinned Sky. This was a shock, and Ivy looked great. Bailey pinned Nile, and then she pinned Oscar with Lyra stopping Sane. I don't know why we didn't start with this. An actual good match. And it means we're going to get AJ Lee versus Bailey. But Monty, they just don't do this enough. You've got the women's talent there. Why don't we have, I'm not saying a gauntlet every week, but do you know what I mean? Just showcase the division.
It's too busy trying to, half use everybody and build storylines differently, I guess, and random backstage segments or, having the one off decent match here and there. It's always cool when they do stuff like this, but you know how WWE is, man. It's not really their style, you're always lucky when you can get a good match for some stakes that set up a title match, or even if it's not a main women's title, but we don't get that consistently across any division. The men don't get it consistently, and here we are with the women also. So I don't know why, but they pick and choose when they want to book the show like that.
Yeah, I know it's annoying. Backstage division, El Grande Americano proved too impatient with Danhausen, who cursed him ahead of his title opportunity. Because of this, it was the new El Grande versus Penta who retained his championship. And speaking of the championship, Dominic was enraged after losing it. He hit the ring, flanked by Morgan and Rodriguez, and called out Finn Balor, blaming for the loss. Balor arrived with JD McDonough to confront Dirty Dom. He said he spent his time protecting Mysterio, and he's one that has to learn to fight his own battles. He said Ray was right, and he's a spoiled little prick. And that earned him a cheap shot from Dirty Dom, and there was a brawl. McDonough betrayed his mentor, joining the Judgment Day in a 4-1 beatdown, using the Timekeeper's hammer and a steel chair to lay him out. And Gina, finally some development on Judgment Day. But I was a little bit disappointed JD turned so quickly. Maybe he saves it a couple of weeks or so, but no, he hated Balor.
Yeah, I mean, we felt this was coming from Finn and Dominic. They've been kind of laying little Easter eggs each week to know like this was coming. But yeah, I thought JD might like spend a week or two kind of like feeling torn between the Judgment Day and like his mentor Finn. But no, he seemed fine to just quickly just stick straight to Judgment Day, which shows his loyalty is there and not necessarily with Finn.
Yeah, without a doubt. Obafemi faced his toughest test to date when he weathered the storm, defeating Rusev in the physical, albeit short, battle. We got a Punk promo with Usos cutting him off and demanding an apology, to which Punk asked why Reigns is still sending his cousins to do the heavy lifting. Despite Jimmy and Jay's demands for apology, Punk instead said, "I'm sorry for Reigns not apologised to the family. He disrespected and treated like garbage." He had one last jab calling Usos young boys before catching a microphone to the head from Jimmy. And Jaxie, I feel if I spoke to you like this, you would throw a microphone at me as well,
Most definitely. Why wouldn't I? Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, I'm not surprised by the Usos' involvement, especially when a lot of this feud between Roman and Punk seems to be surrounded by one insulting one's family. So I kind of don't blame the Usos for getting involved, because if you're going to chat my name, then expect me to come out and lay one into you as well. But at the same time, it's like, is this the only incentive that they've got to go with, to drive this feud between Roman and CM Punk? It's not that I don't appreciate it. I love my boys. I love the Usos, but I also have seen this before, with the bloodline
know?
situation and stuff like that. So it's like, how are they going to change this caliber of a match up to really build anticipation towards it? Now, I think we'll get more into this discussion when we hit right, sort of discussing the WrestleMania match card. But I do feel like the Usos coming out at that moment and really kind of hyping Roman up really kind of brought like the severity of like, you need to actually beat Punk and what it means into Roman. Like, you kind of saw them both kind of wake Roman up in that sense. So like that was kind of a good promo in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. SmackDown March 13th, Drew McIntyre quit WWE, not for the first time, but rightfully so this time. He was screwed out of his WWE Championship by a corporate stooge of a DM, a crooked referee, and that street thug, Jacob Fatu. The segment ended with Aldis and Fatu watching him leave. And we've got Solo Sikoa, Talatonga taking on Uncle Howdy and Eric Rowan with Nikki Cross. Took the lantern, distracted Sikoa long enough for Howdy to hit his finisher. Tama took out Howdy and stole the lantern back. Will it never end? Mi Chin returns to the ring for the first time since October to take on Jade Cargill. Rhea Ripley came out and had a face-off with her after Jade picked up the victory. We saw Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss challenge Nia Jackson, Lash Legend, for the women's tag belts. And we saw the Bellas come out. Ugh. They attacked, and Nia Jax made them pay for it. And that's the Bellas. Priest and Truth defeated Los Garzas, and Danhausen had a funny segment with The Miz backstage for the A-lister, went to the ring to interview Jelly Roll. I mean, even Kit Wilson couldn't save this segment. Danhausen did curse Miz. And Monty, I have to bring it up, you have been loving Danhausen going around cursing people backstage at this moment in time.
Yeah, I think I like them. What I like the most about Danhausen and his Kursthausen run is just, you know, it's like the way everyone sells it. Housing has been very, very entertaining. Housing, like I just love the fact that it's people who either they don't buy Danhausen's powers, housing, or they are very, very afraid of his powers housing after like what happened to Dom Mysterio housing. I saw Kofi Kingston housing, push Grayson Waller housing in front of a curse because of fear. Like that's the thing that really gets me going housing. But I'm just very into what he got going. He really does fit WWE housing. It's been a lot of talk about, he's an AEW star housing that the WWE may have discovered him through that, but AEW, he didn't even really show up a lot in AEW housing. We knew him, like a lot of us got introduced to him through AEW housing, but he didn't spend a lot of time on television because he really doesn't fit their style. We know what AEW housing is all about, for the sickos housing, a lot of wrestling housing, sport like housing, but WWE is what are they all about housing? Entertainment housing. And I find Danhausen very entertaining housing.
I wish I'd never asked. Tiffany Stratton defeated Kiana James. The final match of this week's show was the one Aldis booked earlier between Jacob Fatu and Trick Williams. McIntyre ended up interfering to attack Fatu, which cost him the match and gave Williams the win. And I tell you what, Jacob Fatu hasn't been beaten many times. It shows you where they think of Trick. After it was over, McIntyre hit a claymore to add insult to injury. Drew can't quit us. And to his credit, Drew has had a singles match at WrestleMania dating back to WrestleMania 35. Only WrestleMania 39, which was the Intercontinental Triple Threat. It's good going for someone that, not in a position I want him to be in. The final segment of Friday's show was the contract signing with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. Rhodes thanked Orton for being there when he came back for WWE. They both signed the contract, and then Randy grabbed the mic. He said Rose doesn't understand how much he needs to win the WWE title. They hugged. Orton slammed Cody's head into the table and proceeded to beat the shit out of him. He busted Rose open with the steel steps and continued to destroy him. Jelly Roll tried to talk some sense, but Orton shoved him to the ground. I think the most heinous of acts. He returned a moment later and used a steel chair to smash Rose's head against the steps. I mean, Gina, how do they make them cheer Randy more at WrestleMania? Have him do this. He looked awesome.
He did look awesome.
Poor Cody, yeah.
He did look awesome. And it seems he listened to the voices in his head, or at least, other voices, other people's voices. But still, regardless, it was a good segment. I did feel like this was coming with Randy turning on Cody like this, but I enjoyed it. Randy looked good.
Yeah, he did. And it's going to be interesting to see how they can make Randy Orton booed on the road to WrestleMania. And of course, I know how they tried. So we're going to talk about it. Raw 316 day, all the masked men showed up again. Seth unmasked and said, I created a vision. I will kill the vision. Paul Heyman arrived on the scene, disheveled and unshaved. His right eye bloodshot and his face bruised and scraped. He said, let you in my inner circle was the worst decision I ever made. Oh, no, Rollins said that for vowing to cut the wise man out like a cancer that you are. Heyman repeated the FO catchphrase, but on the last one uttered F5, and Brock Lesnar made his presence felt. The Beast stalked to the ring, obliterating Rollins' cronies one by one, leaving him face to face with the Visionary. The arena darkened, and Naima Femi strutted to the ring, and the ruler proceeded to deliver a massive powerbomb that flattened Lesnar, a foot on the chest and a point of the WrestleMania sign, and it looked like we knew what Oba was going to do. And I'll tell you something, Jax, this might have been one of my favourite segments WWE has done for a very long time because it had a flow to it. You know, it's all short. You know what I mean? It's all stop start.
Yeah.
We like advert stuff like for this. It just flowed, and also obviously
Mhm.
Oba fucking standing tall as well. Come on.
I mean, he looked like a king, didn't he? This was the first time that just anyone sort of like really realistically saw a hint of fear, about what this man could actually do to Brock. And he just looked incredible. So yeah, it's straight from the get-go, I was excited to even see what was going to come out of this, and he did not disappoint.
Oh, that was excellent. El Grande Americano beat the OG. That's never ending as well. The Women's Intercontinental Championship match between AJ Lee versus Bayley. This was AJ's first Raw match in 11 years. Ultimately, despite being the better wrestler throughout the majority of the match, Bayley found herself trapped in a Black Widow and with no choice had to tap out. Becky Lynch did attack Lee, sent into the Raw stage, then laying her out in the aisle, and she sent a message to her biggest rival. I mean, Monty, this again, it's good Bailey versus AJ Lee, but Bailey didn't get an entrance, so I didn't like her chances, which is a little bit of a shame.
Yeah, they obviously relegated Bailey to the tag division, but also it's kind of crazy when you think about somebody of her stature. But like WWE obviously do not want you to think that Bailey, as much as the Four Horsewomen, because I know Charlotte loves referencing the Four Horsewomen, especially in other interviews, and Becky will talk about it and all of that, and I've seen Bailey talk about it outside of it. But we all know who the one that WWE don't really think or care about putting in that spotlight. And it's unfortunate if you just look at Bailey's career, no matter how accomplished she is, she's always one of the. She's always been kind of treated as I don't want to say a pushover, but she's never been treated. She's not looked. They'll tell you that they believe, or not just them, but they'll try to say Becky's the greatest. Charlotte definitely they make cases for the have made cases for the greatest, and we know what Mercedes has done on the outside. And even though I believe that if you're just going off well-roundedness and just being able to be fit with all three of those people very well. Bailey has proven that she is, like the most like the best utilized in my opinion as far as like what she can bring to the table. Now WWE don't utilize her the best, but she make the most of her opportunity. So I do think this match was good, and I think her and AJ had some real. I think her and AJ might have had better chemistry than that first match with Becky. If you really watch some of the work that they actually put in, maybe that's because of their relationship. But yeah, like you said, we kind of knew the result, even if it wasn't, even if she did have an interest. I think we kind of knew where we were going. So it was good to get AJ Lee doing this, and I know how close they are outside of kayfabe. I know how close AJ and Bailey are, and how close they have been over the years. Bailey was one of the main ones begging for AJ to come back for many, many years. So it's really, really cool from that point of view to just watch them do their thing. But and so if you can suspend the fact that we knew that Bailey weren't going to really win, and and think about her treatment, it's always hard to ignore her treatment because she's always, in my opinion, treated so. She's probably the only Hall of Fame like person that got like a Hall of Fame resume that I've ever seen. WWE just not probably only, but one of those of out of those four, she's definitely the one that I know that WWE tries to like for some reason pretend that she's not the big deal that she is. But at the end of the day, it was cool to see these two legends kind of fight it out, even if we knew what the result was.
Yeah, without a doubt. Dragon Lee continues hot streak with another banger against Penta. He didn't walk away as Intercontinental champion, but as you mentioned with Bailey's maximising his minutes. There are loads of fighting champions in WWE right now as well, so that's the kind of new thing. We got Natty squaring off with Maxine Dupree. Natty down Dupree late with a discus clothesline and a sharpshooter for the win. This feud is stone cold because it's 316 day, you see. Women's World Champion Stephanie Vaquera beat Raquel Rodriguez. Io Sky came out to help her. And then in the closing segment, welcome to my ring, welcome to my main event, Roman Reigns said as he came face to face with CM Punk. Reigns hurled insults at Punk, including not main event in the European tour and not being the big money baller that his wife is. Punk mentioned Samoa Joe, claiming that calling Reigns by his first name would be an insult to his former Ring of Honor teammate. And Punk stopped the Tribal Chief from leaving, telling him he would tell Reigns when he could leave, and then vowed to beat him at WrestleMania 42. For all the insults, it was the OTC calling the world champion old that earned him a hard right hand to the face. But Gina, I mean, Punk is old, isn't it? It's not the first time someone's telling him this.
I mean, yeah, it is the truth, but I think it's the manner in which he said it was more like an insult, as if to say, like, I'm old, I shouldn't be fighting an old man, he shouldn't be fighting an old man, sort of thing. So I think it was more the insult he took offense with. But yeah, CM Punk, you are a little bit on the older side compared to some of the other wrestlers, so you do have to accept that sometime, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Only fair. SmackDown March 20th. The show opened in chaos as Drew McIntyre was shown assaulting Jacob Fatu in the parking lot after crashing into his car on purpose. McIntyre always does the best assaults off screen. He eventually made his way to the arena and ranted on the mic until Nick Aldis came out and yelled at him. Fatu made his way to the ring. Scooty tried to drag him away, but Fatu freed himself and put McIntyre through the announce table with a big splash. I mean, Jaxie, I know you're not Drew's biggest fan, but you can't even give Drew that. Fatu was broken on the windscreen and still ended up the segment on top. How's that work out?
I mean, yeah. To be honest, I don't know what they were thinking with this move, because Drew came across quite strong, and then it was oh, and until it wasn't.
Yeah.
At this point in time, I can understand Drew's pent up frustration now more towards Jacob Fatu and just kind of getting that one over on him again.
Yeah, that's just fucking annoying, man. Again, haven't we got enough time to split that into two segments over? Do you know what I mean? Is SmackDown not long enough, or they're not long enough fucking build? Anyway, the men's tag title match was the first match. R-Truth and Damien Priest challenging Tama Tonga and JC Mateo. The rest of the MFTs were at ringside with the White Atlantis still in their possession. Surprisingly, Truth and Priest ended up getting the victory to become your new tag team champions, thanks to some help from Uncle Howdy taking out Sikoa at ringside, proving a distraction. Monty, come on, man. We again, we know Triple H hates tag teams, all right? But this is just further proof. And it's not an issue with Priest and Truth, but it's just, do you know what I mean? I've had enough.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to not to be fair to Triple H, but I mean, if you to be fair about this whole entire thing, if WWE is gonna book a tag team, it's gonna be the odd tag team. It's gonna be the tag team that you don't know if necessarily if they fit together. And like you said, Truth and Priest are vets. They doing what they can. They're making the best out of it. I still find Truth entertaining. I love the fact that he's just taking John Cena moves. Like that's my favorite thing about it. Is that he just take John Cena's comeback and we all cool with it because we know uh, that's his childhood hero, I guess. But yeah, so uh, I get a kick out of it, but I think that's the only way you really can enjoy it is if you just take the lens of thinking about it like the tag team titles are supposed to have some huge meaning or lineage. Like I told you, I'm gonna go ahead and spoil it because I don't think they're gonna win the titles by the end of the year. But if I'm wrong, yay. But every year, I think for the last few years that they came up, I've been saying, hey, give the Creed bros the titles, and they don't even get on TV. So legitimate people who just come up as a team, we talk about Fraxium and all that type of stuff. Will we ever get that our division to be taken as seriously like that as far as in this Triple H era? It don't feel like we'll ever be back to that spot. So if you just try to take the matches for what they are and hope that they're entertaining, but if you're a tag team wrestler and you're in WWE and you don't have an exit plan, you don't have a singles goal, or you're not going to be a part of a faction, you might as well just go out there and do the best you can to have fun. And that's what at least Truth and Priest truth matches always make me chuckle. So at least I get that out of it. But other than that, I can't take the belts too seriously because like we mentioned, like I mentioned every time, apparently every show we do, I get asked a tag team question. But I'm gonna keep telling you guys they
I
don't
don't know
take
why
it
it always come to
seriously.
you. Yeah, I don't know why it always
Yeah, it
comes to
always
you,
the
but yeah.
carousel always ends up on me on these questions. But the truth is the truth. They don't take it seriously, so we gotta stop. Like you want to. And I don't even. And we've criticized AEW tag division, but at least the least thing I can say is that for the most part, especially this Young Buck FTR, like a couple of these FTR's reign in general, they are giving us some top level bangers, even if the division ain't really deep. So at the very WWE ain't really got no excuse because they have the talent to give you. Because like, let's say you don't want to give tag team storylines, you don't have to. You still can make it competitive and make. If you're not gonna put it on your PLEs, make your SmackDown and Raws every week or every other week. We know we finna get some banger tag team matches on SmackDown and Raw because that's where the tag division shines. But they don't even take the time to do that. So it is what it
Yeah.
is, man.
Yeah. Well, again, it's annoying as well because up next was Motor City Machine Guns defeating Fraxium. So again, it's just like they're laughing at us. We have got the teams, but Candice Ray did help them. Randy Orton sat in the same dented chair used to attack Rhodes and spoke about how he tried to return the love that the fans have shown him, but he has been faking it. He also beat up Matt Cardona, but no one cared. Alistair Black beat Sami Zayn thanks to Trick Willie. Jay Cargill came to the ring, immediately called out Rhea Ripley, who wasted no time coming to respond. It looked like Michin and B-Fab were going to attack Cargill as she was leaving, but he ended up joining her to beat down Ripley. I mean, Gina, what was this about? Because I was a little bit surprised because I was like, they've not liked her and now they like her.
Yeah, I think this is a simple case of if you can't beat them, join them. I'm not entirely mad at it. BFAB and Michin are kind of two of the female roster that kind of is sitting catering until a squash match is sort of needed. So I think it's a good thing because it kind of gives those two something to focus on and do as a storyline. But I think Jade's run as women's champ hasn't exactly been the best. So I suppose in a way this might make it more for an interesting concept of her storyline as female champion right now. So yeah, I think she doesn't need friends. Jade is strong enough on her own. But I also think it's quite an interesting concept for them to do with some of the female roster that's not currently being used, unless it's a wasteful match at this point.
Yeah, no, I think you're bang on there. Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov put another banger for the US title. Melo retained, and I wondered at the time would this lead to like a heel turn for Ilya Dragunov because he hasn't actually been heel in NXT UK, NXT, or the main roster. So, but I realised what they're going to do. Kit Wilson read Jelly Roll a poem, and then for the first time in almost 8 years, Nikki and Brie teamed up to take on Nia Jax and Lash Legend for the women's tag titles. It's almost like they don't want me to watch a product. Unfortunately, it ended with DQ when Charlotte attacked Jax, attempt to use the title belt as a weapon. The champions ended up taking out both teams, and then the show ended with Fatu and McIntyre fighting outside the arena. They ended up falling off an elevated platform out of view as the show went off the air. I mean, again, Jackson, it's not. I was just like, okay, they've. Why don't you look over the fence?
It was just chaos. It was kind of chaos, to be honest. I don't know how else to describe that. This match is definitely personal between these two. It really just it really does make you wonder like what the fuck are they gonna get up to at Mania if they're already doing shit like this?
It's in a way, it's kind of what I thought Cody and Randy might have been. Do you know what I mean? Like just both men just
Yeah,
trying to kill each other.
that wasn't gonna happen after a certain mouthpiece got involved. So
I know, but what can we say? We
I
did get
know.
some good news though. Afterwards, Ted DiBiase Jr. was found not guilty. I mean, Monty, this is a story I think we have covered in the past, and people might be wondering where is Ted DiBiase Jr. He was in court at this time, but he's found not guilty. It was nothing to do. I don't want to get into the politics of it, but he could show up at WrestleMania, and maybe be part of a legacy reunion.
I'm good. We cool. We cool. We don't need it. That's fine. We can leave it alone. Even though it would be nice to hear that banger legacy theme song, because that used to be my song. It's a new day. Man, that used to be hard. But anyway, but yeah, as far as Ted DiBiase goes, I don't wish nobody, I don't wish jail, especially the way our prison system is. I don't wish that on nobody. So, he got off. I don't know exactly the details of it. I just know what he was allegedly accused of, and it is what it is. But yeah, that was solid, because to be honest, based on what because I think his father was accused of like the same thing before or whatever. So I'm not saying I thought he was guilty. I'm just saying, you know, very entertaining headline. Even though I'm not saying I was, again, I'm not wishing jail on nobody. Just saying it was an entertaining headline when I first saw it. It was like, wow,
Yeah.
okay, that's what Ted up to. But but you know, it is what it is though. I wish him the best. I don't need to see him at Mania though, because obviously WWE don't care about bringing up legacy, because that would have been an easy way to just tell the Randy Cody story. But you know, I guess they don't think we care about legacy at all. But anyway, we'll move on. But
Yeah.
good on him. I wish for everybody to be free. So you know, if he actually
Yeah.
did what they accused him of, you know, again, our justice system sucks. So
Exactly. Yeah, it really does. Everybody's got a prize for the $1 million man, it seems. Raw, March 23rd. Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman started the show. Paul Heyman does seem more interesting now. He's with Brock for some strange reason. He told Oba he's overhyped and didn't stand a chance at Mania. Oba arrived, a brawling shield and a conqueror attempted an F5. The former NXT champion wiggled free and dumped Lesnar over the top rope and to the floor. The Hills retreated and Femi stood tall for the second week in a row. Now, this is saying, Gina, we talk about Oba Femi, but this is a bigger conversation that I wanted to have, you know. And again, I think we should all get involved in this in a way to see if we're right or wrong. But I'll ask you first. Do you think WWE is surprised with the reaction to Oba Femi? And not just Oba, but we can include Javon Evans and Carmella Hayes and Trick Williams, you know, in a predominantly kind of white redneck audience. You know, we talk about Triple H not being able to maybe book black talent properly. But I mean, do they need special handling? And do you think, like I said, there's a surprise of going, fucking hell, they're really over it, except for the fans, you know?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I agree in some ways. I think I don't necessarily want to say they don't know how to book black talent and black talent needs to be booked a certain way, but I think they're tone deaf with some storylines that they do. And they could have some real great stories going, but they don't choose to push it with certain people, and then they choose to use that same storyline on someone who's already received that sort of treatment. You know, is a sticky situation, and I think like the wrestling world will be torn in relation to that. I personally feel like the booking could be better of certain black talents, but this does feel great in terms of the booking for Oba, but like you just mentioned, you know, you see this and I guess they're trying to be like, look how we're pushing Oba because we just buried Mello, like he's done nothing for this company, you know, and taken his opportunity away. So it's like you right some rights, but you also then have some wrongs, and it's like they try to sweep it under the rug, you know. Um, so yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm very much looking forward to Oba and Brock, and we'll get more into that at the talking about the WrestleMania match card anyway. But that, again, it's like once in a lifetime that a booking like of this caliber is made. So I think that's why so many people are hype about it. So many people are behind it for sure.
But again, and then Jaxie, I'll bring you into this as well. Is it a case of, like with Oba, they're thinking, "Oh, we're not sure if it's going to work," and again, why haven't they done this before? You know what I mean? Is it a case of they've gone, "Oh no, hang on a minute," you know, like a black athlete or something like that won't kind of get the reaction? And Oba Femi at the moment, arguably, is the most popular person in WWE. You know?
I think I definitely think that they're shocked by the overwhelming like sort of support and hype surrounding Oba already. But I also do think that this is like them also trying to rectify many wrongs in their situation. Maybe also flaunting, look, we are doing something right here, even though it's not always the case. Um, there's always questionable decisions that come out of creative. But this is something that right now they're doing right. My big worry going into the WrestleMania match is whether or not they're just going to be their usual selves when it comes to this booking, and whether or not the outcome will actually be significant. Because like, let's face it, I'm gonna say this right now, what significance does Brock get out of defeating Oba here? Nothing. Not as much as a benefit that Oba would get at getting a win over Brock here. So all I'm gonna say is do the right thing, WWE.
Yeah, I mean, and Monty, again, we've seen so much talent, you know, with NXT and of course AEW and stuff like that. I think right now that the talent as we talk about them, with Javon Evans or even people like Leon Slater, they're becoming undeniable. Obafemi, as we mentioned in NXT, there's no way he wasn't going to become WWE champion, but it seems like they're forcing WWE's hand, and WWE like, shit, they are the best now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I watched I've seen clips of this interview that Triple H had with Sean. And what I got from it, outside of him not really him being tone deaf when it comes to cultural elements, especially when it comes to like maybe what Trick Williams would say and all of that. And we don't want you to script what Trick Williams say, by the way. He's so good because you don't. Just tell him what direction you want him to go and let Trick be Trick. And that's why Trick is over. I knew as soon as Trick got on the main roster. Now they have upgraded with the look. I like the changes to the entrance. I love them telling him to wear the fur coat. I like that he got kind of a tire. Even though, in my opinion, when he switched it up every week on NXT, he looked more like a human. Like he ain't just walking around wearing white all the time. But to be fair, if that's their advice and it helps, and I see people trying to dress like him in the crowd, maybe the marketing side of it is what they bring out of it instead of what I'm thinking about when I'm just watching as a viewer. But anyway, go let Trick be Trick, and I think I knew he was gonna naturally get himself over because he has the gift, the gab, he can talk, and I knew his look, and I know how WWE books people if they put him in the right situations and do that typical WWE style because he's basically trained bare like 100% in it. I knew he'd be fine. Same similar to Oba, but the difference is with Oba, I do think it may be a little bit shocking that people took to him so fast. Like, and if you really want to go back, go all the way back. Same thing with kind of Javon with the retirement match, John Cena's retirement match. From that card, immediately you saw the fans, and I think with Javon, he's just so fresh. With Javon, everything he's young, he's energetic, he's fresh. His style is unlike almost even with all the luchadors and all the great talent that we have. Javon is athletically unique, and I think even though I know he got a long ways to go, I think I'm not really that surprised either that he's impressive because he's so much unlike everyone else. But with Oba too, with a presence like that and like the entrance, he got another. I think that's the other thing those three have. They're very unique. And even with Melo, the reason why I say he's a little different is because I feel like Melo's rise has felt more in a similar tone of the Bryan Danielsons and of like I don't want to say Punk yet because they don't really give him a chance to talk as much as they did with Punk when Punk was coming up. But like it feels very similar to where he's kind of worked his way and earned his way organically. And I don't think they thought much of it. I think that they haven't really gave him much storyline thoughts outside of when he broke away from the Miz. He's gotten purely over off just being a great wrestler and entertaining people on a weekly basis. And I think WWE has always had a problem with pulling the trigger and booking that right. So I think when I peel back the layers of the Triple H Shawn Michaels interview, it just feel like it's such a lack of trust of new talent. And sometimes I get it. Sometimes it's warranted because we've seen some people get out there and drown. But sometimes it's like it's a no brainer, man. It's just like, and they just won't pull the trigger. They won't do what all the fans obviously want them to do. So kind of like what Jackson said, it's just like you want them to just go ahead and do the obvious. Like sometimes it's okay to just pull the trigger and let it go. But at the same time, as far as like the cultural elements and like whether or not I think a discussion. I know they probably won't be because these book. If any of you guys watch WWE Unreal, it's something that I noticed when I watch the booking rooms and who's making decisions that maybe other people might not notice, and it's a lack of women and it's a lack of black people in general. So why do you think the women's storylines seem to be a little bit repetitive or not as creative? Well, we don't get a lot of women perspectives. And then as far as like certain cultural elements, certain things, even for the AAA or the Latin talent, you maybe want some more. I just think more diversity overall in the booking chair and like in the people that's giving Triple H them ideas. Yeah, Triple H can still be to have the last say, or whoever else can have the last say. But if you get those, no, you need. And I know, it may seem controversial because in my country, for some reason, we starting to just no DEI, this, blah blah. Nobody wants diversity anywhere, but you can get more unique perspectives. You can have more creativity with those people of color if you had more of that helping make decisions. And in my opinion, but I know how WWE is. We know how those rooms probably have always looked. and it is what it is. But if you want it to be if you want WWE to be more well-rounded in that regard, they have to evolve and become more well-rounded as a decision-making committee also.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. On carry on with Raw, the Vision Usos ended disqualification, and the Knight showed up to help the tag champs. Not that they needed it. We got a Lynch promo, nothing really new said. AJ Lee came out to confront her, but big time Bex run away. John Evans beat Grayson Waller with Kofi impressed at ringside. I mean, will we have a New Day? Heyman wanted to be put out of his misery. From there, police officers appeared at ringside and escorted Rollins through the crowd as Heyman revealed he snitched and filled a restraining order against Rollins. He hit the Hall of Famer next to the arena in handcuffs. Bailey and Valkyria defeated the Kabuki Warriors. They will get the champs at Madison Square Garden. The Intercontinental Championship match, Penta versus Dom, where we saw Stephanie Valkyria attack Liv Morgan and brawl between the Women's World Champ number contender. Balor's music played and the Prince stepped through the curtain. He sent JD McDonough flying into the production area and then watched as Penta rolled up Mysterio to win the match and retained his title. Afterwards, Balor attacked Mysterio and then fended off McDonough and stood tall to close out the segment. But Gina, I mean, are we a little bit surprised? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Penta before I say anything else, but the Dom Balor match I thought would have been for the Intercontinental Championship, but they've changed it up a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I am a little surprised that they took the belt from Dom before Mania, so that this wasn't only a grudge match between Finn and Dom, but also a belt match between them. But to be honest, I think they made the right call here. I think it would be great to have the the international belt, sorry, or intercontinental, sorry, showcased in a separate match, because the grudge is that big between Finn and Dom. They don't really need the status of the belt to be in this match for people to still be invested. So I think it's good because it gives the opportunity for others to be involved with WrestleMania and for it having high stakes like a belt on the line, you know? So I'm not mad at the situation either, because yeah, the Dom and Finn match still feels high stakes without the belt.
Yeah, exactly. Still gets on the WrestleMania card without the Intercontinental title. Yeah, you're right. CM Punk hit the ring to close out the show. Punk shrugged off Jimmy Uso's warning to be careful with Jay on a warpath. The world champion brought up the OTC, calling him old last week, but he's not ashamed of his age. He even pledged to fight anyone who stepped to him, including Jay Uso. What is he going to do? Yeet me to death? Jay hit the ring and came face to face with Punk and threatened to fight. Run it back on your old ass, in actual fact. Jimmy interrupted and told his brother to lock in, especially on the tag team titles on the line next week. Jay expressed his anger with Punk, talking about the family, and then questioned where Reigns was. He ain't even here, but I am. Cue the tribal chief, who made his quickest entrance in 5 years and joined the parties in the ring. He ordered the Usos out, which Punk responded by saying the tag champs should stay because Reigns could use their help. A Superman punch followed, and referees and producers hit the ring. Jay ordered Reigns to smash him and get him, and he did, delivering a spear and powerbombing Punk through the announce table. As Reigns made his way around the ring, cameras caught Punk laughing and saying, "I'm not the one who needs help." Insinuating that his WrestleMania opponent did exactly what he wanted him to do. Ooh, Jaxie, we're back to kind of onions in a weird way. And it's weird how it works with the bloodline. It's like when they're involved, the story's interesting. There's meaning to it.
Well, this is what I mean, though. You know, like it almost took sort of like Jimmy and Jay sort of waking Roman up to kind of like, you know, say like look, he's talking shit, like smash him. You need to really get this through to him, and now it kind of feels like the stakes are a lot bigger. You know, so this definitely went down well. I enjoyed this segment in the moment for what it was. Do I think that this has been an excellent build up, or that this feud needed to actually be surrounding, you know, like all of this stuff up regarding family? Not really. No, I think they could have gone other ways, you know, and talked about other moments within both Punk and Roman's past that didn't involve families. But, you know, here we are. So for what it was, I really enjoyed this segment, and I felt like it just actually did add to the hype of this match. It's a bit late, but, you know, we're getting some sort of momentum here. So we should just take it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. SmackDown March 27th, Orton started the show. Matt Cardona came to the ring immediately, went after Orton with a mic as a weapon. The subject ended somewhat abruptly when Cardona yelled at Orton as he recovered outside the ring. The first match tonight saw Nikki and Brie Bella take on Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Nikki and Brie ended up getting the win with a legend now Bliss with the ref distracted, allowing Brie to roll her up for the win. The champs came in, destroyed everyone after it's over, but Bayley and Lyra ran in to make the save. Trick was given a WrestleMania match, which pissed off Sami Zayn. After congratulating R-Truth, Damien Priest on becoming the tag champs, Rhea Ripley made her way to the ring to address Michin, B-Fab, joining Jade Cargill. They came out to respond with the crowd booing. This led to Ripley and B-Fab agreeing to have a singles match. Cargill attacked her to cause immediate disqualification. We got less than a minute of an actual match on television, and Cargill, Michin, and B-Fab took out the Eradicator in a 3-on-1 attack. Now, Monty, again, we've mentioned Jade Cargill with the B-Fab. Does she need B-Fab and Michin to beat up Rhea Ripley? Because that's what I was a little bit surprised about. Or is it just because she's a heel?
Definitely, because she's a heel. And also, WWE refuses to really put people over sometimes. Like, even if somebody like Jay, who you think is like a easy person for you to be able to put over, that we got to make Rhea look strong as hell. And so let's let have them jump her. I mean, come on, man. At this point, we know how I mean, they kind of formulaic in the way they book little factions. This is not uncommon, but I don't mind it because, like, again, I really agree with like the point that was made earlier about giving B-Fab and Meech and some Duke. You'll never look at B-Fab as more than who she is if she's just never on television and never given the opportunity. And I think Meechin has been underrated forever. So I'm always excited for Meechin to actually get some television time and doing something, even if I can admit like what they're doing in this feud for the most part let me say, I think it's just uninspired. I think that's the reason why you're thinking about it that way, and I think that's the reason why, if you're not really into what they've been doing here, that's more so why. It's because it's uninspired. It's obviously some real life emotions here, and I think Jade has just been being a very good heel. And I'm not trying to criticize Rhea because I know she's been getting a lot of it online, but it's not even really just like her fault. But Rhea don't necessarily seem to be doing the best with like a blurred lines, and that's why I don't know. I don't know why I don't even tried to go this route. But like we know, it's underneath. It's like a real thing underneath this feud that they don't want to completely acknowledge, and I think that's also got every segment feeling a little bit clunky. But anytime it's been like what they're trying to book, it's been pretty like formulaic. Like I think we've seen the barely get a match started. Let's jump this one. Let's jump the baby face. We've seen that a billion times. So at some point you're gonna look at it and be like, wow, okay, what is this? What is this? How does this set us up for the match anymore? Because it really doesn't. But I don't think Jay. Again, I do agree with everyone's sentiment that she may not need the faction. But if we're gonna try to add some life to this feud and tell a story outside of Jay just thinks she's better than everybody else and Rhea's supposed because they also trying to make it seem like Rhea's some type of underdog and it's like we don't agree with that. You know what I mean? Like Rhea have literally, and this is what people keep forgetting. Even when they were bringing up Meechin and B-Fab's reasoning for doing this, and I'm like, I understand they were just beefing with Jay, but Rhea was terrorizing the women's division for years. Like again, here we go with this. Once somebody was a babyface long enough, we just forget how they got to that point. Like most, like the reason, like you mentioned with Moxley and all this point, it's like you can't beat down on people for years to your benefit and you get super over, and then we just forget about it because the people like you. Like no. So again, that's my whole thought about it. But yeah, I think this segment is just an example of lazy booking.
Yeah. Well, to cheer us up, Jetty Roll had his first ever singles match this week when he stepped into the ring with Kit Wilson. Dan Hurst and Curse Wilson before the match started, so that's why he lost. We then got the US Open Challenge. Sami Zayn answered the call. Trick Williams came out to watch. Trick really tossed the belt in the ring, but the ref threw it out. Williams accidentally hit Mello while the ref was distracted, allowing Zayn to hit his finisher for the pin and the win. So we are back to where we started. Mello got drewed, which is different to McIntyring himself in a matchup. A drew is to lose the title before the big event. Gina, I know frustration with this. And again, as Monty just mentioned, you know, Ray Ripley, we're getting, you know, maybe a negative reaction. We know about Cody and Sami Zayn as well. It's crazy when you compare it to a couple of years previously, but I mean, Mello did get screwed here. You know, he did.
Yeah, he really did. I don't know how they didn't expect to upset fans with this turnaround. The thing is, Melo has been doing so great, even facing off against, Ilya to get the belt, but even beforehand trying to prove that he's worthy of going for that belt and then winning it. I think WWE love their title changes and they love changing those title changes real quick all the time. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but consistently it's been a lot, so it would have been really nice because Melo had done so much groundwork beforehand to just let him have this long run and lead into a WrestleMania moment for him. But it's like they just stripped that from him to give it to Sami. And please don't get me wrong, I love Sami Zayn, and I'm not saying that he doesn't also deserve the belt or deserve going into WrestleMania, but he has had more chances to be on that WrestleMania match card than Melo. Melo is like a fresh new talent that would breathe more life into that match card, in my personal opinion. And I think that's what a lot of online presence do feel, and that's why they're angry about this loss for Melo. But also it does add to storyline, it adds to more for Sami Zayn to do, because right now he was kind of stuck in that in between. What am I doing? I wanted to go for the main belt, it didn't work. What do we do with Sami Zayn now? This is kind of a good new story angle for him to possibly even change up his character into a possible heel Sami Zayn, which would be refreshing to see, So there's pros and cons to this title change happening. Obviously, for me personally, I would have preferred Melo going in and having a WrestleMania moment, whether he's losing the belt, whether they even made it a big, fatal four-way
Yeah.
involving Ilya Dragunov, Trick, Sammy, Carmelo. I wouldn't have even been mad at that, to be honest. And if they wanted to put the belt still on Sammy, then they could have. But yeah, it did leave a bit of a sour note in a lot of people's minds. So I feel sorry for you, Melo. I'm really sorry that you got tricked out of that, I guess. But let's see what Trick brings with Sammy, because that storyline has still been interesting too, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, but again, like you said, they could have done that with either a triple threat or, like you said, I think Dragonoff and Mello had done enough in the year to deserve the spot at WrestleMania. You know, so but again, and I'm not booking, but you would think if you look at the product, you'd be like, yeah, those two.
Exactly. That's
Yeah,
exactly why I'm like, I wouldn't have been mad at a fatal four-way, because Trick and Sammy have involved themselves, but Mello and Dragunov have both worked their butts off and done so well in the storylines that they've been given since being on the show for a long time. So it would have been better, in my opinion, to just make it a fatal four-way between them.
yeah. When we get a battered and bruised Jacob Fatu come to the ring to address what happened with Drew McIntyre, who was also in the building. Aldis joined them and booked an unsanctioned match at WrestleMania, so we won't have to worry about countouts or DQs. Tiffany Stratton had a quick encounter backstage with Chelsea Green before she came out with a match against Julia in a non-title bout. Even so, the beautiful man has failed to pull off the win with a little help from Kiana James at ringside. Jaxie, I want to bring this up and talk about, Mello missing out. Tiffany Stratton was in the women's championship match last year, and also Julia is actually the women's US champion. Not that anybody seems to care about in WWE, and they're both missing from WrestleMania as well.
Yeah, exactly. Big question there. We could also just say the same as Io. Tiffany and
Mm.
Io are both in the same boat at this point. They both walked into WrestleMania last year as champions. Both of them are missing out this year, and I don't understand why. You know, um, is I think I'm just more disappointed with WWE than I am like, and their handling of Julia and her second title run. Is just as lackluster as her first title run, and I don't believe that's got any fault of her own. She's not been given any TV time. She's not been featured at all. I thought there was some momentum even for Kiana James in terms of what she was able to do impressively in the Elimination Chamber, and it's like, up until that moment, I hadn't I had kind of forgotten, sort of that, Julia and Kiana James were both around. It's almost like WWE had forgotten that they had a US women's champion. Um, so yeah, I'm just incredibly disappointed with creative at this point. Not even the wrestlers themselves. I don't think it's their fault. But seeing like, Julia, Tiffany, and Io, just not even on the WrestleMania match card is incredibly disappointing.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. This week's main event was a match between Randy Orton and Matt Cardona. He ripped Cardona's cast off his arm and finished him off with an RKO. As he was celebrating, Cody Rhodes was shown arriving at the arena. He marched his way to the ring, came face to face with his former friend before they started brawling. They fought and beat up members of security until the end of the show. Jelly Roll came out, tried to play peacemaker, but ended up getting an RKO for his troubles. Oh no, Monty, not Jelly Roll.
Please, why do I get a Jelly Roll segment to talk about?
You could have had the
Yeah,
match,
man.
man. You could have
Wow.
had the match, but I left it.
No, I'm
I thought
thankful
it'd
for
have been
that.
an
Oh
Don't
RKO.
give me
man.
jelly roll. You
Oh
pick
my
it, Monty.
goodness. Oh man, I can't. I was so angry. Like I was just, I couldn't. Like man, you think like, hey, you know what? That's really gonna make me want to boo Randy Orton, man. Because he hurt Jelly Roll. You know,
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah.
I can't believe
Calm
really
down. Yeah, just
oh yeah,
calm. Yeah.
I'm still shaking up about it, man. I
I
can't.
know.
Why did you bring that up,
I'm
bro?
sorry. I'm sorry. We will move on. We move on. Raw, Madison Square Garden, March 30th. Cody started the show, soon followed by Stephanie fucking McMahon. She reminds everyone she's still a McMahon. I mean, I kind of switched off. So she said, blah, 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 blah. Orton is diabolical. Cody is not his father, and she's not hers. And then she slapped him, and he thanked her. And this makes me fucking sick. I just, I just don't. I mean, Gina, this is just are they trying to make me hate it more? Do you know what I mean? And Stephanie showing, I'm just like, why the fuck is Stephanie here?
Why are you giving me Stephanie McMahon?
Yeah,
Let's go
you
back.
could have had
I'll
Jelly
take
Roll.
jelly roll and you
No,
can
no,
go
no,
back
no, 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 no.
and give Monty. Uh, Guys, I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry. I am a bit biased. I really dislike Stephanie McMahon. So for me, this segment stank, and I didn't need her involved. She's already got her ass in the Hall of Fame. We're gonna have to deal with the whole her segment then. I didn't need to see her again now, and I don't understand why she got to be laying her hands upon other people's mans. I just don't
Mm,
get this. I know it's a standard Stephanie segment, but I had enough of this back in the early 90s in the Attitude Era. I didn't need it again, not even for nostalgia. So I switched off at this point, bathroom break. But yeah, I get it was probably to remind everyone that she was in the Hall of Fame,
yeah,
and to tune in to see what else she says and does.
yeah.
But
I
yeah.
don't know why y'all acting like Stephanie not a box office draw.
Oh, get off it. Cody should have crossroads her and then, kissed her, and then it would have been a viral moment, wouldn't
Actually,
it?
that
So,
would have been a better segment to see.
yeah, Stephanie getting beaten up. I'm in.
Yeah,
Um,
take my money.
they've changed the Usos theme for some generic tune. I don't know why they have done this. And they put their tag titles on the line against the Not Vision. Theory and Logan won thanks to I Show Speed. I hate the fact I just said that. And Jaxie, again, I'm not going to talk about I Show Speed, but
Mm.
tag titles changed hands. I've never known so many titles changing hands leading up to WrestleMania. The Women's Intercontinental, the Men's Intercontinental, the US title, Women's Tag, Raw Tag, SmackDown Tag, and the WWE Championship all changed hands
Mm.
this year.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely, I think, are in a bit of a panic. I think, this can only be due to a lot of sort of like moments of stupidity that has come from WWE decisions. There's a lot of people that are very bitter and annoyed at, ticket sales and things like that. So they need to do anything they can to actually ramp up people wanting to actually see their product. Um, and by doing all these title changes, um, they're hoping to kind of get the crowd enticed, so to speak. So I don't think it actually has helped in some ways to like pick up on ticket sales. But maybe it's like their attempts to draw in, some of their crowd that they've kind of lost. So it's a bit of a whirlwind at the moment with all these title changes for sure. I can't say that I was really impressed with this title change. The Usos had done nothing, had defended like barely against anyone before the Vision came and took this. And considering Jay's been a single title wrestler for a long time. This should have been a pretty significant deal for Jimmy and Jay to not only get back together as a tag team, but actually it reminds the WWE universe why they are one of the tag teams that really carried the division at one point. And all this done is just like add stupidity to what WWE is just like shoving out there at the moment by having just a YouTuber. Don't get me wrong, I've got nothing against Speed as a gamer and a Twitch streamer or a YouTuber. I got nothing against him in that regard. But again, like doing a significant title loss surrounding like a YouTuber is not in any form impressive to me. Especially for someone like the Usos. If you had like, and I'm sorry to bring them up, but like a non-tag team like Damian Priest and R-Truth that lost the belts because of I Show Speed, I don't think that there would have been like too much of a backlash. But I think like again, I was just trying to talk about how big a significance it should be that Jimmy and Jay have just reunited as a tag team and what they could actually do to reignite the tag division. And instead, yeah, they just lost it quite quickly. So it's just been very lackluster, and this was just a bit of a disappointment at this point.
Yeah, it almost like WWE don't know what they're doing as we head to WrestleMania with the
Pretty
amount of
much.
titles changed hands. We got a Liv promo. She said her mother taught her to never let anyone get the best of them, and then she made some disparaging remarks about the champion's mum. Vaquer hit the ring, but Roxanne Perez made a return, attacking the champion from behind, and Morgan delivered a chair assisted Oblivion and stood tall with her Judgment Day teammates. Women's Tag Team Championships Lyra and Bailey versus Lash Legend and Nia Jax matching outfits, but the Hills laid everyone out for Flair and Bliss attacked, leading to a disqualification, much to the dismay of the fans in attendance. We had Brock and Heyman out next. Paul Heyman delivered one of his long-winded promos, only for the enraged Conqueror to grab the mic and demand Femi get out there. Raw General Manager arrived with security trying to preserve the WrestleMania match, but the rule struck to the ring, showing zero fear in the face of an intense Lesnar. Femi obliterated the security and then sent Pierce into the guardrail, showing little regard for the GM's authority. And the former NXT champion made the Beast wait, strutting around the ring for finally join him in the squared circle. And then Triple H, king of overwhelming negative crowd reactions of late, interrupted the stare down and forced combatants apart to a thunderous chorus of boos. I mean, Monty, nothing. Triple H going, how Obert and Brock's working really well. What can I do? I tell you what, I'll put myself in the middle of it. It's like, what the fuck is going through his head?
Well, we saw his wife, so had to make sure he was on TV too, man. Can't just see one of the Helmsleys or the McMahons or whatever. Can't see one of them, or the Levesques. Can't see one of them. Gotta see both of them. I don't know, man. This was what it was. It was another generic type. I mean, it was a nice little brawl. Nice to see Oba continue to look great. And the crowd, like you said, was definitely into it. Triple H's reaction is what it is. I mean, it's kind of funny that you say that because like I think his reaction is completely tied to what you just mentioned with the belt switching and them just giving a vibe of like what they don't. I mean, what not knowing what to do. Like they really are desperate for ticket sales, and I think maybe he feels like if he come back behind the screen, he's legitimizing the segment, and it looks like not something unscripted. Because I think at this point we know that pretty much all of this crap got a plan behind it. But I think he again, it's like a headline thing. It's like, oh, okay, this is gonna get the tweet. The tweet people gonna tweet that Triple H is on TV stopping this. So I think even with the Stephanie thing, like this whole entire episode feels like we just begging for attention. We need some headlines. We need somebody because we try to build WrestleMania and nobody outside of the night the show happens, nobody's keeping WrestleMania energy alive because it's been such a lackluster feeling. So I think when you really think about everything you kind of described, it feels like no, we need people to pick. We need people to we need to pick up the energy. We need to figure out some type of way to get people invested, sell these tickets, some type of way. So if I gotta call Stephanie out here for a segment that don't make sense, let's do it. If I gotta come out in the middle of this brawl, even though we've seen literal assaults in other feuds that Triple H don't move from their seat for, so it's like why this one? But again, so I think they desperate for headlines in this episode.
Yeah, without a doubt. When we talk about WrestleMania, one of my favorite moments is, of course, Kofi Mania. But it's incredible how successful Kofi has been. It wasn't until he was talking having on Raw with his Intercontinental title match against Penta. He is a 5-time Intercontinental champion. He's not held the title since 2012. So 14 years he's not held that title, and yet he's a 5-time champion. We know what he's done in the tag team division and everything else, but goddamn Kofi, he couldn't become a 6-time champion against Penta. After match, Penta announced a ladder match for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania with, well, hardly any more detail. We got another Heyman promo. Pierce told him Seth is medically cleared to compete. In fact, that appeared to take Heyman by surprise. Not as much though as the steel chair that cracked him in the back. Oh, Seth and your steel chairs to the back, eh? He teased a stomp, but then Gunther came out from nowhere, pulled him out of the ring, and put him to sleep before motioning towards the WrestleMania sign. Well, Gina, at least we can't complain Gunther hasn't got anything to do, but I mean, that was pretty random, it seemed at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Again, I am a fan of Seth. I am a fan of Gunther. I like them both. For me, I'm just like, okay, so they didn't have Gunther on the match card, and they needed to get him on the match card in some way. So they were like, oh, great, yeah, Seth's back. So how about, because the Vision is busy, Gunther just chimes in, and it's not even because Gunther wants to join the Vision, but he just wants a favor from Paul Heyman. But still, in my opinion, I'm like, Gunther doesn't need Paul Heyman. He's a good mouthpiece for himself. He can get himself what he wants. Gunther don't need him. So I do find this a little pointless, but I see it how it is. They wanted Gunther on that match card. They wanted Seth on that match card. Braun Breaker so say injured. I think he's possibly better now, but still, what can we do to get both these guys on? Okay, let's just put them in the match. So Gunther's come out to protect Paul Heyman, apparently.
Yeah.
So it did seem random in my opinion. But again, I also saw it for what it is. They just wanted them on the match card.
Well, I think that's the thing. I was like, why Gunther with Rollins? And I said, oh, at least we're going to get Gunther versus Rollins, though. Do you know what I mean? So, again, we'll take anything on this build to WrestleMania. EO beat Raquel. Punk marched to the ring, taping his hand, ready to fight. And fight he did. Reigns and Punk brawled around the ringside area. When the producers attempted to get involved and pull them apart with no sign of Triple H, they took bumps, including a spear from Reigns to Petey Williams. Punk finally got the best of Reigns, delivering a go-to-sleep, levering the OTC. From there, he hoisted Reigns overhead and delivered the same powerbomb through the announce table that he endured last week. He then mocked with the Roman Reigns chants and had a few more punches for good measure before standing tall to close out the segment and the show. Jax, we talked about Reigns putting Punk through, and Punk was a little bit more deranged, and I quite like this CM Punk. I'm not going to say it's like the old Punk, but it's the one where, yeah, he's a bit more deranged.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely had vibes of old punk, I would say. Kind of that sort of like back in 2011 when he was like, act first, think never situation. I think it was one of those type of moments for him, like where he was just like, oh, fuck it, I'm just gonna react. And yeah, it kind of worked. It did add to build some more tension between these two wrestlers. And again, like I've mentioned before, the story has kind of been a little bit lackluster in terms of really feeling any animosity or build up towards this feud. But this was still a good segment to end the show.
Yeah, it's not been too bad. SmackDown, April 3rd, was Randy's hometown, and Orton started the show. He pointed out his family in the front row and said he's doing all this for them. As expected, Rose came out and got into a fight with him. Pat McAfee showed up and kicked Rose below the belt before helping Orton continue assault. He gave a heel promo with the Viper, continued to keep Rhodes grounded with a steel chair. There was a lot of speculation about Orton, who Orton was on the phone to. In the end, it was Pat. Um, I mean, Monty, I'm sorry to give you this, but this is just I don't know, man. You know.
It's such a you know what? I'm not that mad you gave me this, mostly because I've been thinking to myself this entire time, and I think maybe I done came to the conclusion, but I don't like it. Like I think that's the same thing I said, the same thing I just said about them needing to sell tickets, and now I know this is on the same week that Raw was kind of like that. I don't know because the reason why I don't like this one is because at least you can make the case that seeing Triple H on your TV screen might get somebody who ain't watched in a while interested. But like, who the hell buying tickets for Pat McAfee to get involved in the world title main event? Ain't nobody, don't nobody like Pat that much. As much as I don't mind Pat or didn't mind him, it ain't that I mind him now. I just don't. I don't mind his utilization. Mostly because I think, like I said, then you start reading that when they were looking for some more celebrity involvement, which they claim TKO forced on them, but honestly, y'all been using Jelly Roll, so you can you can blame TKO, but obviously y'all been using Jelly Roll, y'all been using streamers. You don't mind celebrities as much as we can blame TKO, but TKO I've been telling you guys to do this apparently. If I just want to say TKO in particular was like, we need celebrity involvement to sell these tickets. So if that's the case or whatever, I don't know. You guys beg for Pat. Pat says originally no, allegedly, which because Pat even knows why the hell am I involved in a world title? Like Pat is like, what the hell do I? Why do I need to be helping Randy Orton of all people? Like Randy Orton is one again. This is another thing. What does Randy Orton keep saying? He looking for what? Title 15. You mean to tell me a dude who had 14, who won 14 titles by himself need Pat McAfee as a mouthpiece or need him to be the edge that's what's supposed to make people excited. Like it is ridiculous in every way you even try to think about it. So at least when I try to think about it in other ways, I can at least tell myself, all right, I kinda can see maybe what they thinking. But in this one, it's just straight ridiculous. And it's just like they swayed Pat. He agreed to do it, and then now we got it in this feud, which did not need it. Like my whole theory, and now James, this swayed me. I wasn't as hurt as everybody else when they screwed Drew. I didn't like the way they did it, but it was typical WWE. They screwed a lot of deserving people out of title matches to build to a match that is more of a safer choice. But I thought we was like you said. I thought we were just gonna get a nice blood feud if you're gonna turn one of them heel. You don't necessarily have to wait to do it at Mania, but like turn them heel, lean into their relationship. They were in a faction together when Cody was very young. Play the classic or you can keep it back. You ain't got to turn nobody here. You just play the classic teacher student relationship match. You had so many other options that you could have went with this Randy Orton and Cody feud. And once they went down this road, that's when I think everybody started to just like, oh wow, and then that's when the realization definitely set in, John. We was like, yeah, maybe they don't know what the hell they doing. After this, it really felt like, oh no, they really don't. They are grasping at straws. They don't know what the hell they do. It's like they are tone deaf, and this whole entire thing. Once you involved him in a feud that he that was not even needed in, it didn't give me an excuse to forgive them for the mellow stuff and all of that. But then it did kind of explain it. Because it's like if you can do something this dumb, of course you gonna do some of the other stuff. So
Fucking
yeah,
hell.
it was bad, man. It's bad.
Yeah, Cena heel turn 2.0. Cody said, imagine if Disco Inferno was the third man for the NWO. And of course, now it's Cody against the system. Cody, the
And
golden
that's
child.
new. True. That's another thing. It's like the most corporate guy you can think of is now we supposed to be and believing that he's so anti-corporation. But I'll give Cody this. He's the first person I've ever seen bury decision while in the feud. Like I give him that. Even if they're trying to do it to give him cheers, either way it go, I give him that. That is kind of unique to me that he's actually saying what we all thinking about this. So
Fucking hell. Right, moving on. Rhea Ripley beat me. Chinny Sky arrived to save Rhea from a 3-1 beatdown. Uncle Howdy beat Tamatonga Tonga ripped the lantern out of Solo's hand afterwards and allowed Hungle Howdy to reclaim it. Looks like the MFTs have some internal problems to deal with. Ali B beat Matt Cardona. Flair and Bliss defeated Bailey and Lyra. Lash and Nia showed up and took out all 4 women, so the result felt meaningless anyway. R-Truth and Damian Priest versus Kit Wilson and The Miz for the men tag team titles. Danhausen offered to remove the curse on The Miz and Wilson, but the A-lister yelled at him, so the curse was still in effect. Danhausen arrived and wanted The Miz to tag him, and when the ref tried to tell him it wasn't legal, the A-lister screamed at him to go away and tried to talk to the ref, so Truth tagged in Danhausen instead. Miz tried to take out Danhausen with his finisher, but it disappeared. When it looked like the Miz was going to win, the ref suddenly had a problem with his arm due to Danhausen accidentally cursing him. Priest got the win, but the ref still acted like his arm was in pain. Now, Gene, I have to ask about this. I know Monty's a huge Danhausen fan, but what did you think? Because even I was just like, I can't remember the last time I saw something that ridiculous in WWE, you know? And there's been a lot.
Yeah, the thing is, there are some perks to some goofy wrestling. It is entertainment in some ways, and seeing this did make me think of Santino Marella and like some of the tactics that he would put out during matches that were quite entertaining and actually gained popularity for him, you know. Um I think Danhausen can be stupid. And when I first sort of saw him in AEW, I wasn't exactly the biggest fan. But I'm not gonna lie, this match did chuckle seeing the like ref get a cramp in his arm. It's stupid, but it's funny. Yeah, I wasn't mad at it. I just don't want this 24/7 in my face, you know. But the odd segments here or there are kind of funny. I don't really like the awkward segments where he just comes out to throw like one t-shirt into the crowd and then goes back.
Yeah.
Like those can like I can deal without. I just see it as time wasting. Why are you making SmackDown and Raw 3 hours if you're gonna just time waste with ads and then this? So that I could do without, but yeah, this match in particular was kind of funny to watch.
Yeah, without a doubt. Trick Williams cut a promo with Lil Yachty. I have no idea. They proceeded to give a speech about how Trick will win the US title at Mania. Williams called for some pyro, but it led to Zayn coming to the ring instead. Carmella Hayes showed up and said he's upset about how things went down. He and Zayn went back and forth about what happened until Mello talked to him about a rematch, which unfortunately Zayn won. And then Mello there, I don't know if he looked injured or not, or what they're doing. Williams attacked Zayn after the match, and Yachty joined him to help. But I mean, Jax, are they trying to say Mello's injured in the kind of storyline perspective to stop us being so angry about it? You know?
Oh, definitely. This is exactly what I saw it as them being like, oh no, don't worry, we're protecting him because we're going to say that the only reason he's not involved at Mania is because of this injury. We all know that's not true. He's fine. So you did this to protect yourself, but it didn't do anything for Mena, you know? So this for me was just a bit of a pathetic call to try and lessen the blow that what every that at the backlash that they were already getting over this.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if every match at WrestleMania needs like a little celebrity mascot as well. You know, like I think every match
We
that we've got
really,
little.
we actually, we really don't need this. But do you know what? TKO and Triple H and WWE, they can't give it to us anyway. And it's like,
No.
I didn't need this. We didn't need it when Snooki turned up. We don't need it this now. You know, it's just something that we could do with having less of. But the more ads that sponsor WWE, you bet your bottom dollar ass that we are going to get celebrity attached to it just as well.
Yeah, you're right. On to Raw, April 6th, and Punk proceeded to tell the W Universe why he hates Reigns. He called him safe, boring, and plastic, while labeling himself dangerous and touting that no one ever knows what he's going to say. In his latest pipe bomb, the Best in the World took shots at Roman, The Rock, Vince McMahon, and they, in reference to TKO, who said he can't control him. He ended up promising Pat McAfee a receipt after, of course, the ESPN personality attack on Cody Rhodes, demanding lower ticket prices and standing tall with the fans to close things out. I mean, Monty, again, another pipe bomb. And for me, Punk is like Negan. You know, the old personality is still in there when it wants to be, you know, no matter what you say.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think honestly, he been the most. He's. I know how people feel about Punk, and trust me, I understand the I understand why, but I think the reason why I like him is because he's at his best, like you mentioned, when he's able to kind of be I think I don't really like the safe version of Punk, which I do think at times he has to lean on because he has been babyface for so long. And I got a theory about his whole entire run that when he initially came in talking about he's here to make money and not friends, I really do believe that that injury derailed us of a heel WWE Punk run. And like he got hurt, then he kind of had this underdog sympathy thing, and he's still been riding that face run. But we all know Punk is at his best when he's able to let venom come from the mic and be not necessarily an anti-hero, because I don't think he ever really was that. He always, in my opinion, was he was very open about his selfishness, but the fans agreed with him a lot, so he became a big
Mm.
voice. So I think he is speaking for the fans here in a sense, and I appreciate the sentiment and all of that, but I just love like he's at his best when he's able to be raw, and also he's always at his best when he can blur the lines between what's actually what he want to say and what is you know what is like he needs to be saying. And I think I'm not saying that I don't know. I think they tried to say after this that they let him just go out there unscripted and whatever, whatever. And like I probably agree with it, but I also go back to what I just said. We getting close to Mania and we need headlines. So let's say they did do that. I think the entire purpose of letting Punk go out there and do that is because they needed somebody to come out and give not necessarily just some positive press, but just like give them a moment that feels, even if it's just a little bit nostalgic, give them a moment that feels off the cuff and a little bit not so pre-planned and not and but it also builds multiple things, like not just his match with Roman. He also, touched on just the entire vibes of the way fans was feeling at the moment, and also the Cody Rhodes, Pat McAfee stuff. So, again, I think Punk is at his best when he's able to do this, and like you mentioned earlier, at his best when he's able to just kind of be a little bit unhinged because Punk has never been sane.
Yeah, yeah, without a doubt. LA Knight versus Austin Theory. Theory scored a cheap roll up victory, further infuriating Knight. Knight called out Adam Pearce and issued a challenge for a six-man tag match at WrestleMania, with the authority figure making it official. So no Mello, but not Vision and I Show Speed on Mania. At least LA Knight has a match, I suppose. Before the scheduled matchup between Finn Balor and JD McDonough could start, Dominic Mysterio attacked his WrestleMania 42 opponent, and this apparently brought the Demon out because Gina, again, we don't want any surprises. They're desperate for tickets, and that's why they said the Demon will be at WrestleMania rather than it being quite a nice surprise.
Yeah, again, I think even Finn said this about himself. Like, I think that the magic behind the demon is not knowing when he's going to be coming out. And I think it has that much more of an impact when you hear his entrance drop and you're like, this is not regular Finn we're getting, So for them to just reveal it like that is kind of a letdown because you've just ruined a surprise that you could have put into that match. But instead, because your ticket sales are shit, you've decided to announce this to try and get more people to come.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. It makes me angry because again, things like this could be left as a surprise and let fans be wowed by the entrance because they weren't expecting it.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Bailey beat Lash legend Seth Rollins hit the ring and spoke about Paul Heyman and the negative impact he had on the vision, with, of course, Breaker and Reed both hurt and out of action. Before he could address Gunter, he was attacked from behind, by Gunter. The two brawled for being pulled apart by referees. The most interesting bit, I think, in this was Gunter walking through the curtain and into the backstage area. Heyman waited for him and said he owed him a very big thank you. Gunther said his attack on runners was not for the wise men, and then pulled Heyman close and warned him, "You owe me so much more than a very big thank you." I mean, Jaxie, this has got to be about Gunter retiring Brock Lesnar. Sure, if you're not, don't give it to me. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, one's hoping that that's going to be the case, maybe, especially like sort of like if we look at what potentially could be on the card for Brock next year at Mania, and like the first step to that really would be having like someone like Obafemi actually like um beat down on Brock and start proving that he is not invincible. So yeah, we could actually like potentially see a Brock burial by Gunther. And to be honest, I won't be mad at it if that happens because I'm done with seeing Brock on our TV and he needs to just get gone.
Yeah, without a doubt. I hear SummerSlam is in his hometown this year, so that gets my hopes up a little bit more. Penta, Evans, and Lee defeated Los Americanos after the match. Rey Mysterio turned and did it himself in the ladder match at WrestleMania, and so he should. He's royalty. Sky and Ripley defeated B-Fab and Me Chin when Cargo pulled Ripley off the ring apron. Attacked Sky, rolled B-Fab up, and won anyway. After the match, the Hills kept hold of Ripley and forced her to watch as Cargo unloaded on Sky with a kendo stick that finished her off with Jaded for exiting with a chorus of boos. You bastard, you can't get on the show. It gets beaten up as well. And then Triple H and Adam Pearce hit the ring for the contract signing between Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. Heyman introduced Lesnar before Femi hit the ring to a thunderous ovation and chants of Oba and Oba. The ruler stepped through the ropes. Lesnar attacked, and the brawl ensued, ending with both men crashing through the table. Security attempted to separate them, but both broke free and resumed the fight. The show went off the air abruptly as chaos reigned supreme. And I know we've talked about it, but Monty, how great is it to see Obafemi like this, like the way he should be treated? You know, like, I know we've mentioned it, but I love Obafemi. Fuck's sake, he is the man.
But when has he not been treated well though? Like he's been booked well from the not just from the beginning here, but like all through NXT for the most part. So again, I think it's easier when when you know what you're looking for and like we know what Oba brings to the table. I think more so what you're hinting at is that to have somebody we've seen Bobby Lashley, we've seen other people who may have been I ain't gonna say deserving of this spot because I think Oba age might be a big difference on why he might be getting this over other guys. But Bobby Lashley could have got way more when he feuded with Brock than he got. Uh, and I think it's really cool to see that somebody like Oba in this, so young to the main roster and all that, and like can be this over one, and then two, get so much offense in and Brock do so much selling for him to where, like you mentioned, it already seemed to be helping make him a bigger name already. So, again, I think that's the best part of it in my opinion is like seeing that. But I'm not really that surprised because again, I think this one is a no-brainer, and I think what I got from it is that it's just frustrating to me that as far as and I'm not even the biggest fan of the Jacob Fatu and Drew story for a plethora of reasons, but at least with that, it feel like a simple way to kind of just do a blood feud. And I just like it's crazy to me that when you think about some of these feuds that got the celebrity involvement, you think about like even Roman and Punk to an example, like those been booked so much simpler. And I just don't understand. It just took me back to Cody and and why it just can't be this simple. Like, I'm not saying we need brawls from like five different feuds, but sometimes it really can just be this simple. Because they're not, think about what you've been talked about in every Brock and Over segment. It hasn't been nothing crazy. It hasn't been a whole lot of talking or nothing. We all know what to expect. And I think sometimes you really could just keep it simple.
Yeah. SmackDown, April 10th. Don't let anyone distract you, Jelly Roll said to Cody, distracting him. Rhea started the show proper to set up a main event between Io and Cargill. Hometown hero Bailey, of course, lost to Alexa Bliss. And then we got a video package for Royce Keys, highlight his journey to WWE, minus the time in AEW. Following the break, he made his way to the ring for his SmackDown debut against Berto. But Gina, not since Veer coming to Raw have we had to wait for a debut singles match with Royce Keys. But I mean, he won and he's there now, so I suppose that's good.
Oh my God, remember Veer? Oh, did
Yeah,
anyone ever find him? I hope
I
I
think he's
hope
still
he's
come
not
to
lost
Raw.
still. Yeah, no, that is true. Again, it was a great video package for Royce Keys, and I think it really showed his personality and would definitely bring more fans to his backing and his way, you know. Um, but again, they took so long to bring him back. You introduced him at the Royal Rumble. That was January. We've barely seen the man, and he pretty much is up there on par with some of the bigger wrestlers that you've got on your main roster right now. And where we feel like we're getting regurgitated storylines, they could be doing something with him. But, I'm glad we got this video package of him. Could have been done a lot sooner, but I'll take what I can for now just to see more Royce.
Exactly. Pat McAfee came out and immediately insulted the San Jose crowd by calling the town a shithole. I've never been. He called himself a hero and said stars like CM Punk are spineless bums. He told us not to buy night 2 of Mania and mocked us for not being able to afford tickets. Hey, Jaxie, who says a hill's dead? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you tell us we can't
Listen,
afford the tickets.
just fuck you, Pat McAfee. Just fuck you.
Rhodes came out to issue a response. He said everyone wants to see Orton at Mania, but no one wants to see Pat, and told him to go home. Pat insulted him one too many times. This led to Randy Orton sneak attacking him from behind. He had attacked Jelly Roll backstage as well. I know people did care about that. And the Vibe Politely American Night were draping DDT. I mean, I fell asleep, but Gina said it counts, so that's fair enough. Tama Tonga versus Fatu. Fatu got the victory with his trademark moonsault. As part of the MFTs did not rush the ring to attack him like they usually would. It's only because Drew McIntyre showed up and attacked him. He took out the longest pair of handcuffs ever and used them to whip Fatu in a ring post. He tried using beside Fatu to the ring, but it didn't exactly work as planned. One of the cuffs kept releasing. God damn it. Sami Zayn came out to try to appeal to the crowd. He was getting some boos, but he said he would never turn on the fans who supported him. Trick beat Matt Cardona, and Danhausen finally made his in-ring debut. And his first match was against Kit Wilson. As Wilson was on the top turnbuckle praying for a move, Danhausen cast a curse that caused the pyro to go off and hit Wilson below the belt. And Danhausen took advantage and scored the win. As Miz prepared to sneak attack Danhausen, he escaped when the lights turned off. You see, Monty, I think Danhausen could, I mean, with this ability, the title's there for him, you know?
He's already a Hall of Famer housing too. I mean, I'm hey, again, I'm not one of those people. I understand exactly what Gina Housen said earlier about this, about just like comedic wrestling and not having it in your face all the time. I 100% agree about the t-shirt selling housing. That's a waste of Dan Housen's talent. Come on, man. Like, why? What are we doing? But I think you basically hit it on the nose. Like, they're just wasting time. But stuff like this, the occasional, especially and they're involving him with the right people housing. I mean, I like Kid Wilson, but we all kind of could see that they weren't going to ever really. Maybe they will eventually, but they look at Kid Wilson as comedy. And same thing with the Miz housing. At this stage of his career, I mean, come on now. Like, they've made him lose way too much for us to truthfully believe that he need to be uh taken competitively seriously at this point in his career. So I think, maybe they'll screw up one day and make Danhausen be involved with somebody that he probably shouldn't be, or and then we get mad because he tried to curse Oba Femi and or like somebody like that, and we would just be mad, like, no, keep Oba away from him. So maybe they'll screw it up, but like I think when you just use them like this, give them give them good people to work with, have fun. I don't think it's a problem. I know some people don't like comedic wrestling. I like this because it's just a unique take on it. Like, a lot, to be fair, what I love the most about Danhausen is we can't prove that he actually have any of these. We can't prove he's actually cursing
Yeah,
anybody because
we can't
it's a
prove he
photo
hasn't got
after this.
powers. Yeah.
Right, right. It's a photo after this of him passing money to the pyro guy. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it could be just a straight up scam. But I just love the fact that he's gotten like things have went his way in that regard to keep the curse alive. So I just hope they keep the curse alive and keep having fun with it. Like, just be as creative as possible and keep having fun with it. So I think that's what I love the most about it, is that he say he cursed and we all like, oh no, he cursed them, but we can't prove he actually got any powers at all. So this is great.
The main event got started with about 8 minutes left in the show, so Jay Cargill and Io Sky wasted no time getting into the action. Cargill got the win with Jaded, but Ripley was there in a heartbeat to prevent her from attacking Sky with a chair. Didn't help her for getting attacked on Raw. So Gina, Io not only didn't get a match, she got beaten up and then lost on SmackDown as well. That'll teach her to be Ripley's friend.
I mean, yes, I guess, but it's hard to kind of watch this because you forget that Io is a multi-time women's champ. And so just watching her be sort of cannon fodder for Rhea's storyline is a bit it's a bit disheartening, I would feel, just because I feel like Io is such a badass in her own way. Like she should be having her own storyline going into WrestleMania, not just being Rhea's best friend getting beaten up, so it adds incentive to Jade's match, you know?
Mm.
So for me, I did feel a little disappointed with the fact that EO's storyline going into this WrestleMania is as like the side friend who's caught in the middle. Because if you think about it, last year she was going into WrestleMania as champ, you know? So yeah, it's a bit disheartening, but I know that EO will still shine in whatever match she's involved with, you know?
Yeah, without a doubt. The Raw go home April 13th. We had Triple H and Adam Pearce with the contract signing for Brock Lesnar. Paul Heyman introduced Lesnar, who came down to the ring and signed the contract, really. And then for the first time ever, Charlotte Flair squared off with Lyra Valkyria in one-on-one action. It was a competitive contest with Bayley interfering on behalf of Lyra and costing Flair the match, much like she did with Alexa Bliss on SmackDown. And then Stephanie Vaquer joined Kathy Kelly in the squared circle for a promo. But before the first question was asked, Liv Morgan attacked. A brawl broke out for producer referees attempted to break up. Morgan told Vaquer, I knew your mother was trash, but I didn't know she raised a little bitch. The segment ended with both of them being pulled apart and Morgan screaming uncontrollably, looking a little unhinged. I mean, Jackson, she's been unhinged, but I don't know if she should be calling Stephanie's mother that or Stephanie that because we know what Vaquer can do.
Yeah, yeah, I mean that was a bit of a low blow. Um, but again, I think Unhinged is exactly right. I think that from a few weeks back, Stephanie Fakir has really managed to get under Liv's skin, and really just kind of made her lash out in any way possible. And what better way to, you know, sort of get underneath Stephanie's skin than by calling her mother a bitch, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just thought it was a bit weird. Of course, we didn't mention as well Liv getting headbutted by Roxanne the
Oh
previous
God.
week as well.
No, honestly, I think it was the sound that the impact made that has made me cringe so much, with that. And like, the bump that Liv had on her head was just
Mm.
incredible. Like, I don't think I've seen one that size
No, it
before.
was crazy. We got a backstage confrontation between the Usos LA Knight and the MFTs, leading to a six-man tag team match. Pit the baby faces against Sikoa, JC Materio, and Tonga Loa. Of course, the faces won because MFT are dark state level of losers. Gunther made his way to the ring to address his match with Seth Rollins, but the Visionary attacked and sent his rival scurrying to the floor. Gunther still returned to the ring, though, insisting he wants to prove who the best wrestler is. And he's making sure he hasn't aligned himself with Paul Heyman as well. Again, there was more brawling and it was Rollins standing tall. Tickets are still available for both nights of Mania, Raw, and SmackDown. I think that says it all. You know, when you can't sell out the Raw after WrestleMania, I think you realise you've got problems. After weeks of showing compassion and empathy to Kairi Sane, despite her reigning subvert to Oscar, Io Sky squared off with a pirate princess. Oscar altered Io's momentum by interfering. Ray Ripley made a save and he jumped by Jay Cargill. Sane capitalised and scored a momentous victory. And Monty, again, this match perceivably could have been on WrestleMania because the build has been long enough, you know?
I think that's what make the stuff you mentioned. You talking about EO, all right, Oscar?
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, Oscar, yeah.
yeah. So I think that's what make the her involvement in real stuff so freaking frustrating because it's not like she don't have her own business going on too, and like her own feud that you could have gave more time to it or let it culminate with the because I think we all can see ending to this and how it could be a cathartic way for it to go for this whole story to finish, and they just kind of like dragged feet, and you could tell they didn't really know up to it because we've seen tweets and we've seen promos where it seemed like they were going to build to a conclusion to this. actually happening at Mania, but now it's rumored that it might be after, so or whatever. But yeah, it's real frustrating because I think that's what I don't like the most about it. And maybe we can get some storytelling about that later about how I ain't gonna, it make Rhea kind of look selfish, but not just that. It just look confusing, I think, or it makes the storytelling look very confusing to me because I don't think EO, like you said, need to be really involved in Rhea's business when she got Oscar and EO thing going on. But I think it would be a little bit more forgivable, all the losses and all the L she's kind of taken for Rhea. It'll make that way more forgivable if she didn't already have a storyline that has been longer and way more interesting pre all of this going on. So I think that's probably the most. I think that's a great point, and just like at the end of the day, I think we want this match should be on the card, but because of circumstances, it seemed like that we're gonna have to wait on this actually culminating later. But yeah, man, I think that's what make it all frustrating when it comes to EO because I think EO probably had a spot on the card and things changed over time.
Yeah. Well, Obafemi struck to the ring and Jordan appears in Triple H for signing his contract with Brock Lesnar. Heyman appeared for the second time in the night and told the the door is always open if you're looking to rebuild his career. Yeah, because he's done such a great job with the vision. Femi responded with an impassioned promo that reinforced his status as the ruler and the man that will conquer the beast in Las Vegas. Evans and Lee defeated Rusev and McDonough. After the match, Rusev laid waste to the victors. Then Rey Mysterio and Penta before standing tall to close out the segment. I mean, Gina, where has this Rusev been? Do you know what I mean? He's sitting there, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I remember Rusev. He's a destroyer.
Yeah, I think they forget sometimes the talent they have, and they're like, wait, who can we get to fill in this segment? Quick, go check catering. Oh my God, we have Rusev. Chuck him in there. It does sometimes feel like that, and they forget that they're sitting on talent who could actually bring more to certain storylines and or more impact, at least. So it's nice to see that he is remembered.
Yeah, without a doubt. And then CM Punk made his way through the fans in Sacramento for joining Roman Reigns for their final encounter for the match. Here's the truth Punk told Reigns: I hate you because I envy you. Punk said he hates that Reigns has wrestling handed to him, and the OTC has competed in the main event of WrestleMania many times. He feels that way. He apologized to Reigns for taking Seeker's name in vain and said he found his family and his people in the Indies. Punk said he hates that he has to share the first singles WrestleMania main event with Reigns and vowed to retain his title. Reigns said that's probably the truest stuff you ever said, admitting he hates him too. I hope that one day when I leave, they miss me as much as they missed you. He said he's taking his title back and will return to the place where it was. What I'm wondering, Jaxie, because we've seen each other put for the announce table, was this promo meant to be beforehand and they just moved it? Because I'm just like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, just brawl or some shit, you know?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure whether or not they kind of wrote this like weeks ahead of schedule, and then sort of had things change over the then upcoming few weeks, and then just realized that this actually just kind of should have happened a while ago. Um, it could have been like that, to be honest. But I do agree. I feel like this would have just been a better segment if it was just a straight up Raw and less talking. That's kind of what Punk and Roman do at the moment is only seem to wind each other up when it comes to sort of their with words. Um,
Mm.
and I'm kind of ready just to see fists flying now.
Yeah, exactly. We had the WrestleMania kickoff, which was yesterday with Michael Cole hosting. Seth Rollins was first. He said he doesn't know if he's 100%, but he wanted to be back for WrestleMania. Gunter arrived and told him he's the best wrestler in WWE. Rollins said he's Mr. WrestleMania. Now, Monty, again, I don't want to get into a huge conversation, but would you say Seth is Mr. WrestleMania of this generation at least?
Uh, I mean, I guess you can. I probably can see an argument for it. I don't know. The problem is like I'm trying to think of who he would be in competition with too,
Mm.
off the top of my head. I'm not again,
Exactly,
I
yeah.
guess Mr. WrestleMania is kind of like a match quality thing. So I would have to think about like who had some of the best matches year in and year out. Because Mr. WrestleMania doesn't necessarily mean you like Roman Reigns and you always in the main event or something like that. So yeah, I mean, he probably got the best argument just because I can't think of nobody else off the top of my head right now who is consistently there and having solid to really good matches and or classic moments and performances. I do think the way last year ended, and I do think like him helping Cody, like just like the more recent manias, do give him some pretty good moments to look back on. But I don't. Mr. WrestleMania is very lofty though because I do believe the reason why they call Sean that was it was moments and most of the time even when he came back in retirement he was gonna have the best match and he had moments. So I don't know, but you know what? Just because I can't think of nobody else, he can safely say that because the problem is like I said, who's gonna argue with you back and be like, you know what, this guy's actually Mr. WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it.
We got some ads, and then Liv Morgan was out next. She talks about her new music video. I mean, Gina, we didn't talk about Liv's cracking new music video. It was excellent, wasn't it?
No, I cringed the entire time and then I kind of skipped it.
Oh well, that's a shame.
Ass.
Well, Stephanie Vaquer interrupted and said Liv is a better singer than a wrestler. So I don't know how bad she thinks Liv is at wrestling. Um, Morgan ran off and Steph said she will kick her ass. The Mania set was revealed. I mean, Jackson, we saw the WrestleMania set. Oh, we were excited about that.
I was not. Yeah, sadly, I was just as unimpressed with that. Um, it was alright. It was colorful. It's nothing amazing. I will definitely forget about it like after it's done. I think that there's been better Mania set designs.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
that's all I'll say on it.
Yeah, AJ Lee was up next. She's back to remind people who she is. And she's going to tap Becky out for a fourth time. Becky was not in a good mood. She's more annoyed that AJ is her daughter's favourite wrestler more than anything else. Then we saw Dom interrupting Cole, and Cole laughed that Dom gets a demon. Dom said he's got demons. One of them is his deadbeat dad who showed up for him finally. And Monty, I don't know about you. I don't like Rey Mysterio being this close to Gunter. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know they probably share shows, but again, it's a bit too close proximity just in case Gunter looks around and goes, "Yeah, you're next."
That's why Rey Mysterio magically got injured because it was rumored he was supposed to fight Gunther. Next thing he got hurt, and he was still hurt apparently. Then he injured. He not injured now. He can get in this ladder match since Gunther booked up. So I think Ray might be the smartest man in the village. I think he agreed with you, John. He's trying to avoid Gunther too. Because
Yeah.
anybody who got over 10, 20 years in the business, man, you gotta stay away from him at this point because we know what that means. So yeah.
Well, what's crazy, they talk Hall of Fame, and like, is it 20 years ago was Rey Mysterio winning the world title at WrestleMania 22.
Wow.
20 fucking years, man. Penta showed his respect, and CM Punk was last in a suit. Punk knows the world is on fire, but he thanks the fans around the world for coming to watch WrestleMania. He said Sunday night is for the fans. Makes you sick. SmackDown April 17th, last night as well. Randy Orton started the show. He said he will be the first to admit he doesn't need Pat McAfee, but wants him in his corner because he's a straight shooter, reminding him who he is. When he mentioned Cody, the crowd let out a chorus of boos. He said all Rose has ever done in their friendship is take. He ended the promo without being interrupted or attacked. And the first match tonight was a huge 8-man street fight with all 5 members of the MFTs were introduced. So it's obviously not going to be kept the 8 men involved. Sikoa pinned Uncle Howdy to get the win to hopefully end the story once and for all. But again, Gina, it's just like, what the fuck happened to the White Six, Like, I take my eye off them, come back, and it's like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like the Wyatt Six and the MFTs have just been stuck in this constant feud because they have no other factions to go against each other. And so it's kind of become a little bit not boring, but like you just like, oh wait, these guys are still fighting? Like they've been fighting for months now. Like have they not settled their differences? That's kind of the feel that you get from this because they've just done the same things with them. But I will also say that like it also helps play into the storyline that Solo's got going on with this possible beef that's brewing with Tama Tonga. I think that's the right one.
Yeah.
So again, some it makes sense, and others it's like, okay, are you going to end it here now after this big street fight? Is this the end of the MFTs versus the Wyatt Six? Are the Wyatt Six going to be showcased in some other way with another faction to feud with next, or are you honestly going to regurgitate this storyline with the MFTs and we'll see them on SmackDown having a two man tag team matchup?
Yeah, landed
You
on the
know,
pole match. Yeah.
yeah.
We got Jacob arriving in a police car. The next match saw Damian Priest and R-Truth defend the tag titles against Kofi Kingston and Grayson Waller. Priest got the pin for his team to retain the titles. You having to get tag teams over from Raw? Like, can't you see what's going? Oh, just don't. That was the second match in an hour. Jay Cargill came out, flanked by Michin and B-Fab. Bray Ripley came out as well. Says she's usually a patient person and wants to take Jade out after everything she has done, but is willing to wait for the weekend. The exchange ended without any violence. They originally announced on social media US title match between Tiffany Stratton and Julia, but it was changed to Stratton against Jordan Grace for a future title shot, which Tiffy got the win. Trick Williams came out to talk about Sami Zayn taking out Little Yachty last week. Seemed like Zayn was going to come out to respond, but it was someone in a gingerbread man costume. Zayn eventually did come out to respond to Trick's mocking comments. He said he has no idea why fans are booing him, but his real fans will stick with him. And then he gave the gingerbread man a haluva kick. I mean, Jaxie, I think the gingerbread man was more over with Sami Zayn with the crowd at that point.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely a favorite of the crowd, and everyone knows that was to represent Sammy, but it just kind of got over with the crowd. I think this whole segment was brilliant. I really enjoyed that Trick. Um, they got to be building up to something special with him for sure, and this can only sort of like go one of two ways. But either outcome for Trick, I think going into Mania, he's kind of deemed the heel, but I feel like coming out of Mania, he could potentially be a face. So let's see how things go.
Yeah, without a doubt. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss battled Bailey and Lia Valkyria. They got into a fight before the ref could call for the bell. Then Nia Jax and Lash Legend ran to the ring to join the fray. In their end, there was no match. The champions took up both sets of challenges. And the segment was over in just a couple of minutes. Then the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, Royce Keys and Joe Hendry were the final two men to head to the ring. So the only entrances we saw. Kit Wilson was the first man to be eliminated. Of course, he's still cursed. The match includes stars from AAA like Psycho Clown, and Shiloh Hill was there just to piss me off, I suppose. Of course, wrestlers from Raw and SmackDown. A few members of the MFTs were put in double duty because, there's not enough of them. It came down to Otis, Keys, and Talatonga. After eliminating Otis, Keys took out Tonga to win the match and the Andre Trophy. I mean, Monty, what are your thoughts on Hobbs winning the prestigious Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal? And what was it about Aleister Black eliminating my favourite NXT champions? He took out Nakamura, Joe Hendry, and Ilya Dragunov. Has he got a problem with me?
Yeah, did you forget you just explained he's not one of your favorite NXT champions. There you go. He took him out because he's the best. No, I actually got a kick out of this. I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, I like a pretty good battle royal. I agree with you. I wish from the beginning, but it's too late now. But I really wish they actually made this thing mean something. Like, do you know how cool this would be if this like guaranteed you a title shot? Or like kind of like what they do with the casino battle royals. Again, I'm not mad. I think casino battle royals happen a little bit too often. But at the same time, just doing one just to make them stand by the trophy and then it don't mean shit. The next show is like frustrating to me. It always has been. But I'm happy for Royce. I had no problem with it. I know I'm surprised you didn't mention it, but so I'm mentioning it. But like I still marvel just like you do, James, at just how old still is. Like, oh
Oh,
my
crazy,
goodness.
isn't it?
He woke that crowd up and like, again, that's an underrated, underutilized person who probably could be a legend in WWE if you just go off crowd reaction. Because Otis has been over forever. Like, think about how long he has been over. Like, he's very very underrated, underutilized. I think at this point we just know that we just don't want to choose him to be that guy because I think if we went to crowd reaction, Otis would have been one of the top stars for a while ago. But anyway, this was good. I had fun with it, and I think if you just take it for what it is, you have fun with it. It's cool that Royce won't win it. I don't know if that mean anything because To be fair though, if you look at the list of people who wanted James, it ain't horrible outside of like I think like Madcap Moss.
No, it's like one good year, one shit
I
year. Do you
mean,
know what I mean? There's always
yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah,
there's like a Matt Hardy and then like a Gronsky. Do you know, or
yeah,
Mojo
yeah, yeah,
Rawley. Do you know what I
yeah, 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 exactly, exactly.
And the final segment of the evening was set aside for Cody Rhodes to talk about his upcoming match against Randy Orton. The WWE champion was shouting into the microphone. Does he not know how a microphone works, you know? But anyway, he said they aren't going to talk about the conspiracy theory that someone had been messing with him at WrestleMania every year. He mentioned The Rock, Travis Punk being part of the problem, but CM Punk showed up, much to the surprise of Cody. Punk and Rhodes shared some cordial remarks about the history, talked about coming a long way from Teddy Long's wedding, being the two top champions in WWE. They started crying, they hugged, and I wasn't surprised if they started kissing or not.
So fucking
Gina.
ass. This is so weird. Go ahead.
No, but anyway, Gina, what were your thoughts on this? Because this is how they decided to end the build for WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, I started laughing when you just said that ending because I had just finished watching SmackDown about an hour before this pod started, saw that segment, and my first response was, and kiss. Because that's just how it was coming across. I get it. It was kind of feel good. I don't know if it was possibly these two saying, let's just enjoy this because we're both about to have our asses handed to us or something like that. But yeah, it was a bit of a cheesy end segment for SmackDown, especially with how much they've loved to regurgitate all the different brawls between the storylines that they've got going. You know, they've had the same thing going on over and over. Two people who have a match lined up at WrestleMania get on the mic and then they just start fighting until security comes out and breaks it up. So it's actually surprising that they just decided instead, let's end SmackDown with love. So that's
We
what they
bring
went
you
with, guys.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah. We bring you love. All right, so that is Raw and SmackDown. I mean, Jax. Yeah, Jax. I'll ask you this: what were your thoughts on WWE then? As like I said, we've caught up with all the build-up. What your thoughts been on WWE as we head to WrestleMania?
Listen, WWE are just a mess creatively right now. I don't think that they really are understanding sort of build up moments. It feels like there's a lot of decisions that are being made last minute. So I can't say that this has been the best build to bring me great anticipation towards Mania. Towards Mania, um, but I can't say that I'm not looking forward to certain matches on the card. So I don't think it's like the worst build, but that is yet to be seen in terms of what the outcome is and how the weekend gets on. Um, but they could have certainly done better with all of the build up, with every single sort of match leading up towards Mania. They could have focused on giving shine to other wrestlers and other matches and other champions that actually are missing out on the Mania card. But I'm gonna just try and take what I can from this and at least try and go into WrestleMania positive thinking for what we could get. Um, whether or not that positivity remains is still to be seen, but let's see how we get over it on the weekend.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think that's I think fair to say. All right, so we've done all the build up, so now it is time for predictions. We've got night one and night two to do, so we're just gonna go through them right now. All right, let's go to the bottom of the card. So we know it's gonna start us off, and it is gonna be the six-man tag team match, LA Knight and the Usos taking on Austin Theory, Logan Paul, and I Show Speed. And Monty, do you want to start us off? Which way are you going with this?
Yeah, I blame I really do blame us in a sense, not just us, but like the fans in general. Or I blame Johnny Knoxville, or I blame Bad Bunny for actually being good. Like I just feel like we gave them even Logan Paul to an extent. We let them get away with this for years, And it seemed like this year they just went overboard with it, and it's like, and I'm not even saying Speed ain't gonna have a few moments. He might been training his ass off and give us a few moments where you'd be like, oh, okay, that's cool. But in my opinion, I just think, like mentioned earlier, at some point we're going a little bit too far. Everybody don't have to train for their one little dream match, and just because they got a following and that they need to be here. Like occasionally, it is fun and it can be cool, but I feel like at this point, anything Logan Paul is involved with around a big pay-per-view, we probably gonna get some other celebrity involvement now. So, but I'm gonna go with the Usos and LA Knight winning, most partially because of I just that's who I kind of prefer to win this, but also I don't think Dan House undid his curse, so something gonna happen to Speed, is what I would assume, but maybe I'm wrong.
That's an excellent point, actually. Gina, what about you on this?
Yeah, I won't go too deep into it, but for me, because the Vision have recently won the belts from the Usos, I feel like the Usos deserve this win a little bit more, especially because it's not for the tag belts either, with it being a triple threat. Also with Speed in, and like Monty just pointed out, he's possibly still cursed. I feel like he's the best one to kind of eat a pin here as well, protecting the tag champs of the Vision, but also protecting the Usos and LA Knight. So my prediction is going with the Usos and LA Knight to win.
Ooh, Jaxie?
Yeah, I've gone Usos and LA Knight, mainly because from my point of view, I've gone LA Knight needs to get this win and like kind of get over his deep hatred for the Vision and move on to some other form of storyline. I'm kind of getting fed up of seeing him repeatedly kind of feuding with different members of the Vision at this point. And if he needs to get this win alongside the Usos just to actually end this part of his storyline and like have him maybe move on to feuding with the other wrestlers, then I'll take this win just so that he can move on.
I mean, you all make excellent points, and again, I'm tempted when we talk about the curse, but it's WrestleMania, and I'm going to back I say celebrity involvement, so I'm going to go for the Not Vision and I Show Speed to win that. But then if Danhausen pops up, then fuck it, I suppose I'll take that win as well. Uh, Up next, unsanctioned match: Drew McIntyre versus Jacob for two. This is where in the first hour as well. Gina, who you backing in this one?
Um, is sad to say I'm gonna go with Jacob for two for the win on this one. Drew was the one who got himself involved in Jacob's matches and kind of asked for this feud from Jacob. So I really do feel like Jacob needs to exact his revenge. Drew's been a menace all year and he's been absolutely great. And I would love to say like he gets the win here, but if you want to start going into fresher storylines after WrestleMania, I feel like the feud between Drew and Jacob needs to end here with Jacob getting his revenge for Drew screwing him over all those weeks ago. So yeah, I'm back in Fatu.
Jackson?
I too am backing Jacob Fatu. However, I just believe he really deserves justice. I think Drew really screwed him over. Drew is great at screwing people over,
How
so he
did
needs
Drew
to kick
screw
his
him
ass.
over? How did he screw him over?
Oh, here we go.
By
Well, I mean,
costing
I
him the
just
WWE Championship? No, Jacob did that to Drew, sir.
yeah. Listen, but Jacob wouldn't have done that to Drew if Drew hadn't
It's the
screwed Jacob
chat.
over again before that. Or are you forgetting all what Drew did before? Okay, so let's
It
not
was
act like
it was a
Drew's.
bloodline that cost Drew at
Listen,
Clash at the Castle. God damn it!
Oh
okay, yeah.
Lord.
Do you know we're
We're
also going
never
back
gonna
here, so that's what I
unhear
mean.
this.
It's a constant back and forth. It is a constant back and forth. But I'm going Jacob Fatu here because I think right now Drew can afford to take an L, whereas if they are still trying to like really big up, sort of Jacob Fatu and not lose any momentum with him, I think that he should pick up the win here.
Well, Monty.
Yeah, I mean, the only way I see it going your way is if Triple H want to prove everybody wrong who had a brain back when he pinned Booker T. Because this storyline has given me serious Booker T vibe. And maybe it's because I don't watch too much wrestling, but Drew bringing up him being a ex-convict and all of that, and like Jacob having to kind of come out on TV this last week and be like, I don't even live that life no more and have to give a speech. And I hate when they do that because Jacob is a superstar. We don't even gotta acknowledge, like, we know what he's been through, and people who know, but like I don't know why we gotta bring that to TV. And I get it, Drew's a heel, and I don't really blame Drew for it. But this gave me a lot of Triple H Booker T vibe, even though I don't think it was anywhere near as but one Triple H Booker T was like pretty much racist as you can get. This one ain't got to that level, but this one has come to a like ooh, let's judge this man because he went to jail before type of deal. So yeah, I don't really like that element of the storyline, even though I do like both guys. And I also heard from a little birdie that Drew got some Hollywood shit going on. So whenever you got rumors around acting and stuff, I'm thinking you might, Drew need a break if we're being honest. All the shit Drew been through, he might as well take a couple months off. So let Jacob beat his ass and he do the job and he can come back later fresh and back in the world title picture at some point, hopefully.
I don't think Fatu's going to beat his ass, is he? He again, like I think
Lord,
Drew.
I said let Jacob win, James.
Yeah,
Relax.
yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I'll take that. I'll take. Well, you all gone for Fatu, and I have also gone for Fatu in this one. He's going to win,
Oh,
isn't he?
oh, and you wanted to act all judgy when we all selected for two.
Drew's my man, though, But yeah, he's going to lose this. Like, come
Let him
on.
be emotional about Drew. Y'all should expect this by now.
Yeah, Drew's my man. But again, this is the funny thing is I've got to get this Drew. But again, if the Usos and LA Knight win to start off, I'm going to be just as pissed off. So this doesn't help, but I'm still going to stick with it. Next match we talk about is Seth Rollins versus Gunter. Ooh, Jaxie. Again, we spoke about the build up, but this is going to deliver in ring, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we all know that these two can deliver high caliber level matches, so I have no doubt that this could be a potential sort of like match of the night stealer. Um, but as much as I do enjoy Seth, I can only see this going one way. We need to keep up like a potential streak going with Gunther. Not only that, but if we are going back to our previous conversation and depicting him as a potential sort of career killer and potentially, the one to take out Brock Lesnar at some point, then we need to see him solidify a win against Seth here. So I'm definitely going Gunther to win. I do think that there could be potential involvement from Braun Breaker to then sort of lead on to the storyline that should have been here between those two, but they decided to hold off for some reason. Uh,
Yeah.
don't even ask me why. Considering most of the rumors have said that Braun Breaker is healthy and fit and well and could have definitely filled the WrestleMania sort of spot. However, I'm not going to lie. This match is definitely one of my most anticipated matches to watch. I think this could be a really good bout of sports between both Gunther and Seth. And I look forward to seeing kind of the shenanigans that come out of it.
Yeah, without a doubt. Monty, who you picking?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm going with Gunther. If it's not because of Brian Breaker, I just think Gunther will find a way to win. I think we think about the highs that Seth was on last year when leaving Mania. He can't afford to lose here. And I do think the smart thing to do would be allow some Brian Breaker involvement at some point that leads him to getting choked out, or leads Swift to getting choked out, or something of that ilk. Uh, I mean, I can see it going either way. This is one of the matches that I think they just put on, like we both mentioned that they just like Gunther need a match and like Seth and Braun. Well, this will be a bigger match. This could probably sell more tickets, as we brought up multiple times. So I think that might have been more of the reason why we getting this. But I do love how Gunther kind of saves this match for me by adding the element of you ducked me when you was champion, or you ducked me back when I was champion, or whatever, and we let's prove who better than each other. And I like that element of it because again, I love simple stuff, and that's a simple story. Two of the best want to prove which one of the two is better, and sometimes that's all you need. So I'm expecting. I agree. I think this can take the whole weekend, much less tonight. So I mean, we'll see. But I think Gunther's probably going to win. It'd be hard for me to bet against him.
Yeah, I should say as well. I mean, Rollins was world champion at WrestleMania 40. Gunter was WrestleMania that was world champion last year, and Rollins did main event, of course, night one of WrestleMania. And Gina, before I get your predictions, I don't want to sway you because I don't know what you're going to say, but I just want to mention we talked about Bron Breakker getting involved. No one's mentioned John Cena because, of course, he's the guest host, isn't he? But I guess he might not get involved physically. I don't know. Gina, who are you going for?
Yeah, so quick note, I'm going for Gunther as well. I think he'll get the win here. But I do want to touch on the John Cena. The thing is with John Cena, he's all about hustle, loyalty, and respect. So even though he might be bitter still about losing and retiring to uh Gunther, I also don't see him getting involved in some way unless it's to like chase off like some of the vision, maybe trying to get involved or something. I don't know. Yeah, maybe just in that sense, but I don't think he'll be involved to the point that he helps to make it help make a winner here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've gone with Gunther.
Up next, Women's Tag Team Championships Fatal 4-Way, Irresistible Forces
Wait, who
versus
did you go?
Oh, sorry, I went Gunter in this one.
Okay.
I've written it down, but I didn't say it out loud. That was the issue. Yeah, Gunter in this one. But again, I did think about the John Cena involvement. But yeah, I think Bron Breakker showing up might be a little bit better. Women's Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way, Irresistible Forces versus Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Lyra Valkyria, and the Bella Twins, and or not. We're not sure if they're cleared. I've heard they are. I've heard they're not. God knows what's going on. Monty, who are you going for in this one?
Yeah, I saw a clip. I don't know how real it is. I think Nikki confirmed at the Hall of Fame that she gonna wrestle. I'm not sure. So that does make me consider them because I know they love a moment. But since I didn't, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've entertained Lyra and them getting it because I wouldn't mind that being like a story being told here. Because I just think Bailey. It'd be nice to give Bailey another moment at Mania, but because I really don't know and I really have just like counseled myself out, I was just like, you know what, just keep it on the champ. Like I think they really just getting started. I think this build has been trash in a lot of ways because it just ended up being a bunch of all right, let's do a tag team match. Let's end in a brawl. Let's do a tag team match. Let's end in a brawl. So it's been not hasn't been the most creative or good story, but we are talking about tag team wrestling, even if it is women. I'm happy that everybody here on this show is getting a chance to be on the show, even the Bellas, I guess, selling tickets, James. But like I said, I would not count out the Bellas walking out as champs because again, they love those moments and they do have fans. But I'm gonna just stick with Lash and Nia, not only because I just wanted to see them keep it, but I also just really couldn't make a decision.
Yeah. Gina?
Yeah, so this one has been difficult for me to call because it is kind of dependent on whether the Bellas were going to be involved or not. So I kind of have two guesses here, but it's more a case of I've gone with the Bellas to win if they're involved. If they're not involved and it's a different team entirely, then I would say it would be Bailey and Lyra because of the way that they've packaged them recently. I feel like they would be a breath of fresh air taking the belts, you know? So yeah, my first choice is Nikki and Brie to win the belts. I mean, how else would you entice Brie to come back at Saudi Royal Rumble without a promise of her and Nikki being able to hold those tag belts with each other? And like Monty said, they love a feel good moment. So I think they might be maybe the first wrestling company to get a stat of we've had both male and female twin tag team champions now, or something like that, you know?
Oh,
So
yeah.
put it past them to want to get that, even that just stat out there. So yeah, I'll go with the Bellas. But like I said, if it's announced that the Bellas are not a part of the match, my guess would have been Bailey and Lyra.
No, I've got to take your first answer. I'm sorry.
For you.
Jax, who are you going for?
Yeah, I think that this one was a tough one as well because up until um like this morning, I was more kind of like under the impression that like Nia and Lash really could just really dominate during this match and just run all three teams all teams through. This was under the guise that like Nikki wasn't fit to be wrestling. I think this morning just really changed my mind because when she did mention at the Hall of Fame that she was fit to be able to wrestle again, much like my sister, I can't help but feel like this is like the most opportune and probably the only moment where putting the belts on someone like the Bella Twins is going to work, give them like sort of a short run. We all know that Nikki did sign like, you know, some sort of lengthy deal with WWE. So it could be, you know, like this is like their run um for it at the moment. So it was originally Lash and Nia to retain. However, with Nikki agreeing that she's coming in, she is going to be fit to wrestle. I'm going with the Bellas.
No, you're gonna go, but yeah. I mean, the thing is for me is I might go against Drew, but I'll never go for the Bellas. And I, so I'll go. I mean, I've been debating Lyra, Bailey, Bliss, Charlotte. I'll go Lyra and Bailey then. See what happens. Go on. I don't mind doing that. Um, Up next, we have got the Women's Intercontinental Championship match: AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch. Gina, again, this is tougher than it seems.
Yeah, this is really tough because I had a different I thought this match was going to be on the WrestleMania match card, but I thought Becky was going to be the champion going into this match with AJ getting the win, which is why I went against AJ in their first match in at uh Backlash, I think it was. So,
Fuck knows.
or Chamber. Oh, I can't even remember
Eliminations
now.
Chamber. Yeah, no, that was
Yeah,
yeah. She's beaten her
exactly.
3 times. I know that much.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really thrown me off because I had a different idea in mind of where both these women would be going into WrestleMania. In my opinion, I don't see AJ sticking around for too long. So in my opinion, I do feel like Becky's going to get the win and get that belt back here. So I've gone Becky.
That's a great shout, Jaxie.
Yeah, I've gone Becky as well. This one is like kind of like one of my sort of safe bets that I think is going to happen. We all knew AJ wasn't going to be kind of like a long reigning champion. And to be honest, I don't see her going much farther with the belt. Like she may still come back for other matches and stuff, but I don't see her like sort of being able to do much significantly with it right now that Becky probably could do. So it's a safe bet to kind of place it back on Becky at this point.
Monty, before I get yours again, just want to add: does the inclusion of Paige maybe re-signing with WWE change the result of this match at all, or again, is it something that maybe could happen? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing that really making me entertain uh AJ keeping it because I'm thinking that she don't have to stay around long. She still can beat Becky again, and then they can just rehash what they did however many years ago it
Yeah.
was, and have Paige come out there and shock her or something in a sense. Whether they lead to a match that night and she loses like she did then, or like a feud,
That would
that'll
be
be
great.
something else. Yeah, so I can see the nostalgia. I can see them executing it that way. So that's like the thing that made me really entertain AJ keeping it. I do think we could all be wrong, and she sticks around and he continues to reign. I just think, unfortunately, the way WWE has done things doesn't give me an optimistic thoughts that they had any like that they're doing this for any other reason. Like because like I would be like, then why did y'all give her the belt anyway if she's just gonna lose it at Mania, but just to give us a moment in Chicago? Like, did that moment in Chicago mean that much? Over like a
Yeah.
Mania, walking away with the belt at Mania? Like, really? That's how we kind of doing it? So that's my only thing. That's really made this match more difficult than I think it needed to be. But I also agree, like, why give it to Becky if we're not gonna give it back? So I'm gonna go with my gut though. Again. This is one of the things that I haven't decided on. All of my picks has been straight up good. I ain't wrote nothing down. So we're just gonna I'm gonna stick with AJ Lee just out of my pure stubbornness.
Mm. Well, it's weird because I've put, like I said, I've write down my predictions, but it's like question marks and all, and mine I've put like AJ. But thinking about it and seeing the kickoff and seeing everything else being beaten 3 times, will Lynch really be beaten 4 times
Four
by
times, yeah.
AJ? Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
if Paige's music hit once AJ returns or the next night on Raw, then fucking fair enough. But I've got to go Becky Lynch. But that is, like I said, I'll go Becky with that one. Up next, the Women's World Championship, Stephanie Vecchia versus Liv Morgan. Jax, the Royal Rumble winner, looking to take away La Primera.
This one has been difficult because I've actually chopped and changed my answer quite a few times. I've gone Steph, I've gone Liv, I've gone Steph, I've gone Liv. It's very difficult to call this one. Firstly, like there was like sort of the scare of Liv being too concussed to be able to compete with that bump that she took. But like just in terms of like what Stephanie's been doing at the moment, like the start of her reign wasn't like sort of like the best start. It was a bit slow. However, like, especially with this feud with Liv, like she's really kind of like picking up steam and putting her name on the marker and just building more and more of a fan base. And, if you weren't fangirling over her stuff already, then you probably are now. But I think the main element that I've got going into this match and what I'm kind of like thinking about is this could go one of two ways, but with the same involvement of Roxanne Perez. Now, I can either see Roxanne turning at this point to officially like get Liv out of the Judgment Day, and like kind of really finalize taking over sort of her spot, by screwing Liv over in this match, against Stephanie. However, I've really been thinking about it, and that really doesn't make sense. Why would Roxanne want to do that and then like potentially like she could potentially help Liv win that title only to be the one to take it off Liv? So like there's two ways I see this going. So it's been really tough to call this one. I'm gonna go with Roxanne wants that belt. So I reckon that Roxanne will help Liv potentially at the end of this
Fucking hell.
match,
So,
only to potentially like turn on her immediately after, or
hang on.
even just like on Raw. So I'm going
So
Liv.
you've gone Live, right? Okay, we
Yes.
got there. That's fine.
Sorry, we got there. I had to explain the
No.
turmoil that I was
You took me
going
down all
through.
these different roads. I didn't know where you
I
were
told
going.
you. I did tell you right from the beginning. Like I've been really going Steph Liv, because there's so many different outcomes that really does make sense for this storyline. But yeah, this is the one I'm going with. I'm going with it.
Excellent. Monty, who are you going for?
I've been waiting on them to convince me to not go with Liv. Like as far as the storyline goes, I mean, she has been saying some stuff that make me be like, okay, well, the babyface probably gonna have to teach her a lesson because she is crossing lines. And like, I don't really know how much I'm entertaining Roxanne involvement either way. But like for the beginning of this, when she decided where she was going, for some reason, I've been against Stephanie, and it's not because I don't think she deserves it. I think WWE has done her a disservice, much like Julia and much like others. I mean, think about it. She's only defending her belt against like Raquel and I think like one other defense or something like that. So it's like she hasn't really had a chance to do anything uh with the belt, even though she's had this belt for over 200 days. So the belt feels stagnant, and I don't really think it's her fault. So you can make the argument that she should win and keep it going, and it can be kind of like what Tiffany Stratton did last year with Charlotte. But what happened after that? She went back to feuding with Nia, and like the belt was stagnant and we gained nothing from it. So I to me I'm going with Liv winning, mostly because I think if we need some type of freshening up, and if the freshening up means it goes to Liv, who I know is a former champion, but if that's what we have to do, I think this is probably the way to do it. And I think Stephanie will be a multi-time champion. She'll be champion again. Hopefully they'll treat it with more respect when she does get it. But yeah, I see Liv winning. I've been kind of on that side uh the entire time.
Yeah. Gina?
Yeah, I've gone Liv.
Yeah, I'm going to Live. Yeah, I mean, the thing for me is that again, with storyline and stuff like this, yeah, to call her mum a bitch and you're thinking of Vecchia is going to get some revenge. And I think Liv is the favourite. But the only reason I've not gone Liv and I've gone for Stephanie to retain is only because, and again, my predictions might be fucking wrong, but I've gone for new women's tag champions, a new women's intercontinental champion. I can't see this title changing hands and the title changing hands in the main event as well. I know I'll spoil that prediction, but I'll go Stephanie Vercoeur to retain. Fuck it, I'm going to get hammered again at WrestleMania, aren't I? And then the main event for night one is the Undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. As you know, what I just said, I've gone Randy Orton, probably thanks to Pat. But Monty, who you picking?
Yeah, man, this is tougher than you think, man, because I really want Cody to win. It is, I know that's not the popular choice, but like both of the main events is gonna be like me going against what me versus me thinking what they're gonna do versus what I probably want. It's a couple of matches like that on this card, so it's just like I've been like, man, should I just like because I can see this going a couple of ways. I know they probably won't do it the way they probably should have done it, which is let Cody just feed into the booze and not necessarily that Pat need to be on his side, but I feel like now at this point they booked themselves to the corner of like you coming to find out it's a swerve and Pat is helping Cody or whatever. But like I don't even want Pat to be involved at all. I want Cody to just kick him in the dick or like be brutal or something and like take the old man out. But again, they are insistent, and maybe Cody himself is also insistent on not doing it because the little kids in the arena still love Cody. So maybe that has an element that I at 30 years old just don't care about. Uh I don't know, man. Also, you mentioned it too earlier, John. It's just like if we give it to Randy, didn't this just happen last year? And we just playing a country, we just playing another stupid game for Cody to end up getting it back in 6 months. It's just like, what are we gonna do different about it once Randy wins it? Because the crowd is already turned on. The crowd is about to cheer this moment when Randy does it. They're gonna be happy. So what are they gonna actually do this time with Cody after this? Is my question to actually change it up. But you can make that argument if he wins the belt too, because that's just gonna be that's gonna probably be like Roman having needing getting the Brock booed that time in the Royal Rumble. You know, at this point, it just don't feel like Vegas cares for Cody. Like I still like and support Cody. But we talked about this a long time, Jay. At some point, that undying babyface support he seemed to have was probably gonna die off. I'm gonna play it safe though. I'm gonna go against what I want. I want Cody Rhodes to win. I will say that again. I want him to win. But I'm agree with you. I think Randy they've been consistent. We're gonna walk away with 15. And he gonna do it. And he did the Stone Cold line. I'll never forget as a kid. I said The Rock was gonna beat Stone Cold, and I ignored Stone Cold saying, I will do anything to
Mm.
beat him. And Randy has basically kind of said the same thing. Besides the Pat McAfee stuff, Randy has already showed that he's gonna do anything. So I think once again Cody's gonna fall to the old vet who's willing to do anything.
Yeah. Gina, who you picking?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going with Randy on this one. I'm a bit like Monty. I want Cody to retain. So if he does, I'm not going to be like, I think the only reason I'll be annoyed is missing out on that point. But I do want Cody to retain. But ultimately, I think, Randy wants that 15th belt run. He's going to get it. So Randy it is.
And Jaxie?
Yeah, you can't do all this without just putting the belt on Randy, so I'm going Randy.
Yeah, you got to go Orton. All right, that's night one. Then we move on to night two. And we start off with Brock Lesnar versus Oba Femi. This will air on ESPN for the first time ever in the United States. Gina, who are you going to go for in this one?
Okay, so could I just say, regardless as to who Brock Lesnar's opponent would have been, I just want to state this for fact. I will never choose Brock Lesnar as an option. He will never get my vote. I never want to vote for him at all. So, that being said, the way they've built Oba, you've got to let him have this win. You cannot crush him with Brock at this point. You will absolutely ruin what you just built with Oba. Oba needs to come in and Brock needs to put him over. There, I really hope that they just have a banger of the match that is not like a quickie 5 minute thing. I would love for Brock to, just full on try and work to get this win, and for Oba just to smash it and get that win on top of him. So yeah, if they don't do it like that, it's gonna ruin the entire night 2 match card for me, because I'm gonna be grumpy as hell for the rest of it. But that is what I hope will happen. So Oba, you got this.
Yeah, come on over. You got this, Jaxie.
Yeah, my sister brought up all excellent points. I gotta go over here. You will drop any momentum that you have with over if you have him take an L here. He needs to win. So
Yeah.
over all the
I,
way.
j- I just hate the fact that they'll say, "Oh, him being in the ring with Brock is enough." No, stop.
No,
Let him
that's not enough.
fucking
It's
smash
not
him.
enough.
Mm.
Exactly. It's not enough. Let him smash him. Every single week he's come out and Brock's tried to throw himself at Oba. And every single time right now, Oba's come out on top. And then you're going to say that he goes ahead and loses. No, straight up, let him win.
Monty.
I was gonna jokingly be like, "Yeah, I'm going with the Beast," but the way the arguments you guys made me feel like I shouldn't even make that joke. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think in my world, how in my mind, like how in the world could they let Oba lose this and they think we can get out, they can get out of there without, like she just mentioned, ruining the vibe. Like I think that really helps. The fact this supposed to be one of the first matches or the first match really helps Oba in my opinion, because I do think you're gonna drain the energy or at least let so many people down if Oba just kind of falls. I don't know if I expect Brock to work. I haven't seen Brock work in a long time. So if Brock does work, that might impress me, win or lose, to be fair. So I don't know. I'm expecting something similar to like one of those Drew matches or like the one of the Goldberg matches where we just see a lot of
Yeah.
high impact finishers, and then we get a couple finisher spams and all of that. And he kick out of F5 maybe. But yeah, Oba got to win. I think this is a no brainer though. Again, I think like mentioned earlier, Brock winning this does nothing. It doesn't tell a great. It doesn't tell a story. It just does nothing. It really does. Nothing changes if Brock wins. But if Oba wins, we got a breakout star who just became a made man easily. So yeah, I think the right move is obvious.
Yeah. Rocket is for you then. So we've got the Intercontinental Championship ladder match: Penta versus Javon Evans versus Rusev versus Dragon Lee versus JD McDonough versus Rey Mysterio. Jaxie, who you picking in this one?
Yeah, this one again is tough in terms of you've just got such strong contenders that all have a very valid reason as to why they should be part of this match. I think this is gonna definitely be one of those ones that really can be just full of excitement. You know, you've got so many high flyers in this match, and giving them, a ladder match, like what more could you ask for? This was a tough one, but I actually am gonna go with Penta to retain here. I feel like he's got, a lot of momentum behind him right now, and I think that like he can afford to like actually keep hold of the belt a little bit longer. There's still certain matches that I'm waiting and itching to see Penta have one on one for the belt, as it is. So I don't feel like they necessarily need to change hands right now. So I've gone with Penta to retain.
Excellent. Monty?
Yeah, I'm going Pimp to retain too. I would love Javon, but I think at this point, if you want to say somebody's gonna be okay for just being there, I think since he's so young, you don't necessarily have to rush a title reign on Javon here. Ray is there, like he's in there with some legends, and he's also in there with just like great talent to make this match very, very entertaining. So I think it's gonna be a fun sprint. Javon is probably gonna have one of them Shelton Benjamin performances from back in the old Money in the
Mm.
Bank ladder match Mania days and stuff like that. And he's gonna wow everyone. But I think in the end, uh, I think Penta wins it unless you can try to convince me that maybe uh heel wins. But I don't see Rusev, and I don't know if JD. I don't think JD should get it either. So. Yeah, I'm going Peel to return. He just seemed like the safest bet in this regard.
Gina?
Yeah, again, I agree with what both Monty and Jax are saying. In my head, it's out of two, and it would be Penta or Javon. I'm going to take a risk, and I know I'm going with a lot of title changes, but I'm still going to take a risk and say, do you know what? Let Javon have his big mania moment, and let this young boy come on up, and get this win. I think that would be awesome to see. But I also would not complain if Penta retains, because I think it would be great for him to just have a bit of a longer run with the belt. But my ultimate selection is going to be Javon, just to be a bit different.
Gina, that is why I love you, because our boy is bouncy and he's going to bounce into WrestleMania, up that ladder, and walk out as your new Intercontinental Champion. It's going to be the greatest first hour of WrestleMania, especially as an NXT fan. Obafemi beating Brock and then Javon becoming Intercontinental Champion. That's what I'm down
Let's
for.
go.
Yeah. Right, up next, Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. Of course, the Demon returns. Monty?
Uh, I really, I really just wish they didn't spoil this. That's kind of like the biggest thing. But if they didn't spoil it, maybe it would have been harder to predict. Last time I seen the demon, he was flopping around on the floor and Roman hold him, and I just think, I think, I think that if we go bring the demon out, we cannot bring him out to be looking like a fool again. I think Dom is great, but like don't have to win this match. Finn has not won in forever, it feels like anything. So just let the demon have a moment. And finally, I know like 2 years ago they said Finn Balor in for a push. And he seemed like he's just getting ass whooped ever since that report. So finally, can we finally start this whatever Finn Balor push was supposed to be 2 years ago and just let him beat Dom? Dom will be all right.
Yeah. Dom will be fine. Gina?
I'm so in agreement with Monty here. I just wish they didn't ruin the surprise of the demon, because in my head you do not bring the demon out for him to just lose to Dominic Mysterio here. I am going with Finn Balor, but again, this is another reason why you shouldn't announce something like this, because it would have been a lot of not a lot harder, but it would have felt a little bit more difficult to call it if I didn't know whether it was Demon Finn coming out, you know. I
Yeah.
do think Demon Finn has to get this win over Dom, so I'm gonna go with him.
Yeah. Jax?
Yep, agree. The spoiling the demon being there just really solidified like my choice to go with Finn here. I don't think the demon should be losing to Dom. And again, like Monty said, I feel like Dom can afford to take the L here.
Yeah, without a doubt. So we've all gone for the demon in that one. Next matchup is United States Championship, Sami Zayn versus Trick Willie. Gina, which way are you going on this one?
Okay, I have gone for so many title changes that I'm going with Sami Zayn to retain here, but not just for that reason. Sami's just won the belt. I think that they're gonna really push on a potential heel Sammy coming out, because of the boos are already there. So it's kind of like, well, fuck it, why not? If you're gonna boo me, let me give you something to fucking boo about, you know? So I do have a feeling that we're gonna get a heel Sami Zayn, and a face Trick Williams. I don't think it will hurt Trick to take an L here. I think he'll have an opportunity to come back and go back against Sami Zayn for the belt, but I just think right now it's best that Sammy retain.
Jaxie?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I agree with my sister actually in a lot of what she said about this, the calling this match. I do think that we're gonna get I think I mentioned this earlier about Trick really kind of becoming a face, but like I agree that maybe like Sammy will use cheating tactics or something to actually keep the belt. And this will just then lead to a further second match with more build up and more sort of hype around Trick, finally getting that moment and getting that belt opportunity. But I'm going to go with Sammy for the win here.
Go for Sammy to win, Monty.
Oh man. This was another tough one. Again, what I want to happen is probably the opposite of what's going to happen. Uh because I wouldn't mind seeing Trick Williams get crowned, but at the same time, I just feel like if you do that stupid title change that you did, then just I don't see why we need to. I don't see why Sammy should. Either you can see it this way. You see why if we did the stupid title change, then do it to give it the Trick. If you do the stupid title change, or you do it to actually finally turn Sammy heel. So those are the only two options that you really got here. And I think the crowd is pretty much telling you which one make the most sense. Even though I would prefer Trick to keep an edge to him, because I just like that version of him a little bit better than when he was a babyface in NXT. So yeah, I don't. Again, maybe old boy comes back, Yachty comes back and get involved, but it's hard for me to give this to Trick Williams. So I'm gonna stick with Sammy. I'm gonna stick with Sammy and just play it safe. But if Trick Williams walk out, ain't nobody. I don't think nobody be mad. But again,
I am going for the greatest WrestleMania of all time. Like I said, Ober's going to win, Javon's going to win, and
and that's
Trick
why I don't think
Williams.
yours gonna happen, James. This is very NXT heavy. But go ahead.
Trick William, man. He's going to do it. He's going to beat those Lemon Steppers. Are going to win him that US title. And then afterwards, when he celebrates, could be shenanigans with little Yachty or Gingerbread Man, I don't care. He celebrates, he offers his hand to Sami Zayn in front of the crowd, and Sami hits him with a fucking low blow. Boom, you've got your double turn there, and we got a story leading up to Backlash. Come on, whoop that Trick. I have to. If I'm not going for Drew, I'm going to stick to my NXT boys.
He double
WWE
turn
Women's
them and he can lose. By the way, just want you to know.
look, Monty, look, don't get what have I told you about, my hopes. You remember when I thought the greatest group in all time would be Dark State, Just let me get carried away, all right? WWE Women's Championship, Jay Cargill versus Rhea Bloody Ripley. Jaxie, who are you going in this one?
Uh, this one is another one that I kind of went back and forth with because I do feel like I've gone with quite a few title changes, but this one was difficult to call. I'm going to take a risk here, and I'm going to actually go ahead and say that Jade potentially will retain here. Um, I could see this happening, and like I think my hopes are that Jade will retain to then go ahead and like face off against Bianca next for the belt. And this is kind of going to be the way that it goes. But I'm taking a risk here because it's Rhea Ripley. We all know that like everyone loves a bit of mommy. We know that she is kind of like a favorite for the creative team to write for, but I feel like it's just too easy to already sort of like drop Jade's run when a lot of this storyline does surround the likes of Bianca and Naomi.
Yeah.
And so like I feel like there's still like unfinished business there that could actually continue to like maybe help hype up Jade's title reign if she stayed champion at this point. So for me, and like again, especially with like the sort of given that she's got like sort of Mia Yim and B Fab there, I know that Io Sky will be there, and technically you could have something like Bianca come out to kind of even the odds and help out. If I was Bianca again, I'd be thinking about this with what I mentioned about Roxanne and be like, now let me keep let's let Jade keep the belt so that I could take it off her ass. Do you know what I mean? So I would find it a little bit stupid as to why Bianca would like, prevent um prevent Jade from getting the belt or taken off of her just yet, but maybe making an appearance at the end. But this is where I'm taking a risk here with Jade and just gonna go with her to retain.
Should mention that we are less than an hour from WrestleMania. They've got the kickoff. I've got it on in the background
Oh my
here.
gosh, we need to hurry this up then. Hurry up,
Oh,
Jade.
come on. We've only got
I
two
need to go
predictions.
sort out my beer.
All I'm
I
going
know.
to say is the posters on the stadium, you've got Punk and Roman, and then you've got Orton and Cody, and Pat McAfee is almost as big as Randy Orton. It looks like there's a 2-on-1 handicap match is going to happen. It is fucking ridiculous. Right, okay, well, moving on. Monty, who are you going to go for in Cargill versus Ripley?
Yeah, this is easy for me. I just feel like it gotta happen this way. Rhea gotta lose. It gotta be Jay. I think Jay has to win. Jay needs this way more than Rhea would gain anything from winning. And like you mentioned, even if you want to say Bianca would come out to even the odds, storyline, television wise, why? for what reason? Like on television, like I know behind the scenes, her and Rhea get
Exactly.
along, but on television, Bianca and Rhea do not get along. So, don't really make a lot of sense other than just, I guess, a feel good moment. But Rhea don't need to be the benefactor of that feel good moment. She is she's Rhea bloody Ripley, as she lets us know all the time. So, Rhea be fine. Jade needs this, and I think, yeah, let Jade win. Hopefully they let Jade and Rhea have a little time to see if, like, I know people may have a feeling about how Jay's wrestled, but to be fair, they have kind of limited her to such a degree. I couldn't tell you if they're right and Jade can't do a 10 to 15 minute match or 20 minute match. So just let her and Rhea get some time, and hopefully they do something that that we're not expecting, and they give us a really good match. So I think Jade has to win though.
Yeah. Gina?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier when we were discussing Jade and Mia and BFAB joining her, and I said I think that would really be benefactory because Jade's start to the women's championship hasn't been the best, and especially with Bianca going off, and then Naomi going off as well, it did kind of take from that, and it felt like they didn't know what to do with Jade. I think now that you've even given her, these two women behind her, I think you need to keep continuing with that, keep running with that, elevate Jade a bit more, and yeah, have Bianca come back. So I'm going with Jade to retain too.
Yeah, I know Jack actually said it was a risk, but I'm going to go Cargill as well because again, it just feels Ripley's been put in this situation because her name's Rhea Ripley, but is not ready to win that championship. Like I said, she's taken away from Mio in that situation because again, it should have been Bianca Belair or someone like this here. So I just feel Jade gets a big win, continues her undefeated streak at WrestleMania, and yeah, like we said, hopefully Bianca can return soon, and Ripley is going to be fine, you know. Main event then for night two, World Heavyweight Championship, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. Monty, is this as easy as people are making out, or do you know what I mean? Has Punk got a chance?
To me, the little punk stand I grew up as, I'm trying to give him a chance in my mind. I really am. But I don't disagree with everybody, man. One is always hard. I told you, the rest of his damn career, betting against Roman is gonna be hard until he gray and the movie star looks fade, which seems like he'll be like 80 years old by that time. It's gonna always be hard to go against him. Like, it's just Roman. It's Roman and it's WrestleMania. And Punk is the older guy here. You don't really got, like, what benefit do you have? But in my opinion, every fiber in my being is saying I don't want Roman as world champion again. Like, I love the OTC. I love the pop he gets. I love the fact that somehow he's a babyface, although nothing about him has changed. But yeah, I mean, I don't need him on top again. I don't need my world champion to not be around. Say whatever you want about liking Punk, but Punk is around. You know what I mean? And that's like, but I just don't see. Also, though, narratively speaking, in the story they're trying to tell, it just feels like Roman is gonna win. So this is another one. Again, I'm going against what I want. I really am. Or I'm not, because I might just stick to Punk like you stuck to your NXT guy. You know what? Screw it. I don't care if I'm wrong anymore because this bill has been asked. They gave a love fist to confuse me even more before the show. So I'm just like, I don't really care anymore. If Roman say he's gonna go away, go away. You always away. It doesn't matter anymore to me. Whatever. I'm going with Phil. I can be wrong. I'll just be sad. But I'll take the heartbreak. If Cody loses, I'll take that. If wins, I'll be like, okay, I'll take it too. But like, I'd rather be just like, you know what? At least I stunk with Punk around the way. Maybe Punk will
Yeah.
turn heel. Screw it. I'm sticking with Punk.
Yeah. Well, again, and again, Gina, I'll ask you who you're going for. Let's not forget Paul Heyman, who's been intricately linked to the WrestleMania
Both.
main event, it seems,
Yeah.
for the last decade. And like you said, just Monty, for both men. So to say Heyman couldn't come out and, do you know what I mean? A Punk heel turn to keep hold of the championship or something like that. And then you could even have Seth Rollins versus the CM Punk feud that you wanted just the other way around. Oh my God, I might change. No, I'm not going to change. Gina, what are you saying?
Oh, it's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, I'm a little bit like Monty. I do in a way kind of hope that Punk gets the win here because he is the more consistent champion. He is around every week, not sending his cousins or his wife to be on show for him so that he doesn't have to turn up because he's got bigger and better things to attend to. But another part of me doesn't feel like I can go against Roman here. I feel like I need to go with Roman. That's going to be my choice. I'm going to go with Roman to win it because I do feel they want him back on top with that belt to build more. I'm just gonna. It might be a mistake on my part, and if Punk wins it, fair play, and I'm not gonna be mad at it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go Roman.
Yeah, Jaxie.
Yep, Roman it is. I have to agree with certain points. I don't want it to be Roman, but I also think that Phil's been chatting shit about the family for a while, so someone's coming out to get involved and tell Phil to keep their name out their mouth. So I
Yeah,
don't know
another
who
Bloodline member. Great.
yeah, I don't know who that be yet,
Hey, why?
I don't know who that be yet, but we getting that. We getting that. Like, we having a full Will Smith keep my name out your mouth situation happening, and that's what's gonna cause Roman to win. So much as I want to believe in Phil, is gonna be Roman.
All right. Roman, and I'm going to go Roman Reigns as well. I know he lost last year's main event, but again, I have to back Roman. And I hope we're all happy with predictions. It is going to be a very fun 2 days. We're not going to enjoy the show. We're just going to be pissed off for our own predictions, aren't we? So that's what's going to be fun about it. But that is it for now. Don't forget, across all social media, X at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR Pod James. You can find the entire WNR team on the banner. Jaxie, where can people find and follow you?
Yeah, you can find me on X at Jaxie Scarlett.
Monty, sorry.
At my Monty Pod.
I always get Monty and Gina confused. And Gina.
You can find me on Twitch and X at Purple Pain.
Double O also on Facebook and Instagram. Send us an email to Podcast at gmail.com and YouTube. With the Double Podcast, it will be celebrating 11 years at the start of May. And the credit is going to be our 600th episode as well. We thank you all for your support, for making this the biggest weekend of the year, and carry on with our WrestleMania review next week and, of course, anniversary show. Also on YouTube, we've got shorts. We're doing My Rise at this moment in time. I'm back in NXT at this moment, and I'll go through NXT UK guys like Charlie Dempsey and all that lot. It's quite cool. And, of course, the podcast is live on YouTube, also on SoundCloud on your phone, also Spotify and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that's it. Our next episode, like I said, is a main review next weekend. But until then, I've been James Rowlands, and I was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. See, Jaxie, time flies when you're having fun.
Of course, always. I mean, who's not looking forward to today? I'm looking forward to tomorrow as well. But guys, let us know which one's your favorite night. Night 1 and night 2. We'll want to know.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, the mind of Monty Housen, shall I say?
You know who else loves Danhausen? The winner of Sunday's main event, CM Punk.
And of course, the genius of Gina. Gina, I'm just hoping Monty just got too cocky rather than know something we don't, you know?
I truly hope that that's the case and that Monty just takes a bigger L here and I get all the wins.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can hope. And that's what it's all about. It's not about being a team. It's about who the winner is, isn't it? And that's the main story, kids. But that is it for us. We hope everybody enjoys WrestleMania 42. Whether you hate or love the product, just sit down with a beer and enjoy the show. Thanks for listening, everybody. And bye.